It's a good, bad, and ugly, but we'll give the guys a break and make it good, bad, and incredible. We'll start with the good, and Levi Leipheimer of Team Discovery, who early on at the first time check was only 20th, so-so, but by the time things were done and you compared the other times, he was in pretty good shape.
Levi started very reasonably, conservatively, and he dosed out his effort throughout the stage, gaining momentum throughout the day. This is the best time trial he's done while he's under pressure to perform in the Tour de France. That's a good ride by Levi Leipheimer.
Meanwhile, the young rider Alberto Contador continues to answer every call, whether it's been in the Alps or in the time trial, to preserve his status in the field.
Alberto Contador may be the most dangerous man in this bike race. He can climb, there's no doubt about that, but he also did a solid time trial to pull himself right up there in the GC.
Team Astana was stacked yesterday. Astana, led in some ways by Andreas Kloden through the mountains, overcame that slide to re-find his rhythm and prove that he belongs in the general classification.
Kloden did a great ride. He started conservatively as well, gained momentum throughout the course. He could have given up when he crashed, but he didn't, and he hung tough all the way to the line. He's right in there.
On the slippery descent, Cadel Evans pushed his bike to the limit and flirted with the yellow jersey for a moment.
Cadel Evans did a great ride. I think he probably took more risks than anybody else out on the race course. He took all kinds of risks through the descent, and he came home with a great ride, second on the time trial, and pulled himself right up in there in GC.
So there's a group of 4 riders who felt great on the bus ride to Mazamet to get set for stage 14. Then there were a group of riders who definitely suffered major time hits because time trialing is a specialty which is not necessarily among theirs. However, Alejandro Valverde was almost embarrassed in his time trial.
We expected a lot more from the Spanish champion, Alejandro Valverde. He actually was caught once he got back to Albi before the finish by his 3-minute man, Michael Rasmussen. He loses incredible time on the stage, 6:08. That is not a good day for Valverde.
Iban Mayo, sort of going through a rebirth in his climbing career, proved again that time trialing is just not his thing.
Time trialing will never be Iban Mayo's specialty unless it's straight up a mountain. He suffered quite a bit right there in front of Valverde, but still way off the pace, 6 minutes down.
For Team CSC, it may be time for Plan B. They've been talking Sastre. Yesterday, he did not deliver.
Sastre did not deliver, did not keep himself even with the other climbers even, and he's going to need to do some serious attacking once we get into the Pyrenees. Otherwise, he's going to lose his chance to win the Tour.
So there are some of the good, some of the bad. Now the incredible. Alexander Vinokurov, because of injury and an inability to survive the Alps in fine form, found himself 8 minutes behind the yellow jersey. He delivered nothing short of spectacular.
Vino stomping Z, crushing the time trial, absolutely flying down the road. He had to go very slowly on the curves, on the descent, because of the wet weather conditions, but the rest of the race course, he sprinted the whole thing, and he came home way ahead of everybody else in the bike race.
A couple of years ago, Michael Rasmussen crashed all over the place. Yesterday, he was supposed to be a fried chicken. Guess what? He was not, overcoming Valverde and blowing past him to keep himself in the yellow jersey.
Michael Rasmussen doing a great job. I think the yellow jersey gave him wings. What a beautiful ride for the Dane.
And after the stage was over, Rasmussen talked about the fact that he still has a cushion of a minute, but if he's looking ahead to one more time trial, and there is one of those, he's going to have to add to that in these next 3 mountain stages.
Yes, definitely. He knows that he lost some time, a lot of time, to Vinokurov, so he needs a bigger cushion than he has right now. The other contenders are getting very close to Michael Rasmussen. If he doesn't attack in the mountains, he can't win the Tour.
Here we are heading into stage 14 in the race for the yellow jersey. Just about a week away in Paris, Michael Rasmussen's lead over Cadel Evans, the Aussie, 1 minute. Alberto Contador of Discovery, 2:31. Andreas Kloden, 2:34. Levi Leipheimer, 3:37. You're going to have to watch and police every single break today.
You're going to have to watch Astana like a hawk. They got Kashakin in 6th. Vinokurov is looming large in 9th. Kim Kirchen stays steady in 10th place.
On down the list, Valverde drops to 5:48 behind, tied there with Iban Mayo. Linus Gerdeman, Oscar Pereiro, and Yaroslav Popovich, and they're on down the list. As for the American story, well, Christopher Horner might take a 21st place, but right now, Hincapie, Van de Velde, and Rodriguez complete the list. As we continue here on the Saab Tour pre-race show, we're joined by Phil Liggett and Paul Sherwen, where today, it's all about Plateau-de-Beille.
2007 Tour de France pre-race on Versus is presented by Saab. Once you've built jets, you don't build just another car. Saab, born from jets.
Saab was founded by 16 aircraft engineers. Their spirit lives on in the turbocharged 2007 Saab 9.3 Sport Combi. With all the storage space you need, an estimated 30 miles per gallon, and a starting price under $29,000, you're closer to owning a jet than you think. Saab, born from jets. Log on to Versus.com/fly to the finish for your chance to win a 2007 Saab 9.3 Sport Combi and a new Cervelo bike.
This summer, Versus is bringing the stars, the stripes, the painkillers. It's gonna be a red, white, black, and blue summer.
Pain's just something that you're either willing to accept or you're not.
The toughest athletes are gonna dish it out and take it on the chin. The competition is on, and the cost of victory is paid. The Versus red, white, black, and blue summer. The suffering continues.
Pain's a good thing sometimes.
All summer long.
When the Tour de France is not invading, Plateau-de-Beille is a great natural place for Gascony cows, Tarascon ewes, and Meron horses. And still they're here, and we're all just squeezed in a little tighter than normal. Paul Sherwen and Phil Liggett join us. Paul, how about you take us through this huge challenge of these two beyond category climbs today?
Well, it's going to be a very long day for guys in the saddle this afternoon, I have to say, Al, because as the riders move away from Mazamet, the town of Laurent-Jalabert, it's fairly flat to begin with, but that all changes in the last part of the race because all of a sudden it starts to get just a little bit nasty with the Col de Paillere, a brief drop down into the valley, and then the massive ascent up to the Plateau-de-Beille at 1,780 meters. Just have a look at that. I tell you what, Bob, it's nasty.
Absolutely nasty is the way to describe this stage because of the climb to the finish. Hartford, Connecticut to Brooklyn, New York. I think it might take you just as long if there's a prang up on the I-95 as the riders to get to the Plateau-de-Beille.
So that has to include a climb to the top of the Williamsburg Bank, I would imagine. All right, Phil, we're still trying to sort out what happened yesterday. The huge challenge answered by Michael Rasmussen. The challenge also answered by Alexander Vinokurov to create a race for himself again.
Yeah, absolutely, Al. Vino is back, and he's made himself an even more popular guy than he was before on this year's Tour de France. Everybody was hoping he could do it. Most people believed he could. He delivered, and I think now he must be considered once again a podium finisher in Paris.
And Paul, as we near Spain, I can almost hear all the ka-chings as Spanish cycling fans buy a little Discovery jersey to salute Alberto Contador.
I was just going to say the same thing, you know. I think yesterday they were hoping Alejandro Valverde was going to be the man, but partisan as they are, they will switch their allegiance to Alberto Contador, who I was just talking to Bob a little bit earlier about. When I saw Alberto Contador finishing that time trial yesterday, it was very reminiscent of the style of one Lance Armstrong.
Wow, that's saying a lot. Meanwhile, to me, Bob, Levi Leipheimer strategically has painted himself into a corner. He can't think that he's going to win anything in the final time trial, and there are so many good climbers that you wonder whether he could possibly pull away and pick up his deficit in the next 3 days here.
I think for Levi, what he has to do is take his time, wait for his moment, and he has to take maximum effect. Maybe if he goes into breakaway, puts some pressure on the other riders, you never know. They might watch Contador, but Levi is running out of mountaintop finishes now. He has to make some big attacks, get the time back that he probably won't be able to get in the final time trial.
Let's get to the fun stuff, because yesterday's individual time trial was a huge day for the Americans in the booth. Saab telling us that Paul Sherwen still leads the way with 20, but finally someone else into double digits, as Bob and I were the only ones to get points. So, Paul,
conspiracy theory, yes, I think.
Yes.
What?
Excuse
You
me,
forced him.
the world time trial champion crashes twice. I don't know. But where were you?
The roads were slippery.
Where were you? There was oil on the road there, and it said something like Al Trautwig alongside it.
No,
Come on.
Our guys just had a smarter time trial, that's all. And how is this possible? Now, Paul has 20 points, and yet he's the one who picks first again?
That's rather
Seems to
sad,
come
isn't it,
round
really?
rather
Talk
a
about
lot, yes.
conspiracy theory.
Well, I just had a word with the producers to see if I could pick top of the pile, and we were talking about a resemblance to Lance Armstrong. I'm going to pick Alberto Contador today, because let's not forget, last time the race came here, Lance Armstrong was the winner, and Alberto Contador is proving to be a phenomenal athlete. And as Johan Brunel has said, this man can accelerate faster than anybody else on the slopes of a mountain. So I'm going to run away from you all today.
And after the way he looked in the Alps, it's all eyes on him and all eyes on your pick, Paul. Phil.
Yeah, Phil.
Sorry.
Paul's winning the race. Never mind. I think I'll go for Rasmussen, simply because he's only a minute ahead of Cadel Evans. Cadel will crush him in the last time trial, so he now has to get much more time. Time is running out for him. So I think that Rasmussen will have to go to win today. He'll have to gain time on his own, and again tomorrow, have a rest, and again the next day.
Which brings us to your pick.
I'm going to go with Alexander Vinokurov, crushing all of your guys' picks. The power he showed in the time trial was absolutely spectacular. He's a great performer in the mountains. I think he's still thinking about revenge from last year's tour. He's back in it. His stitches are coming out, and he's feeling a lot better. So I think Vino is going to have another good day today.
Which leaves me, and I'm going to go with the man who was better than Vinokurov in the Alps, and that is Andreas Kloden. I just don't know how that thigh of his that got rocked to the pavement yesterday is going to respond in the climbing today, but I think as Astana has moved through this tour, they've looked stronger and stronger, and I had no one else to pick, did I?
I guess not.
No, so there you go. That explains that. We'll see how it all.
That's the luck of the draw.
Yes, it is. We'll see how it all plays out as we take a break on the Saab Tour pre-race show. When we come back, Phil and Paul will have the call as we go up to Pierre and eventually Plateau-de-Beille.
The 2007 Tour de France pre-race on Versus is presented by Saab. Once you've built jets, you don't build just another car. Saab, born from jets.
The Cervelo SLC SL is a pure climbing machine. Learn more and enter to win the Cervelo Dream Bike at competitivecyclist.com.
We believe in going our own way, no matter which way the rest of the world is going. We don't believe it should take a lifetime of working for the man to ride with us. Low monthly payments available through July 31st. Starting MSRP for 2007 models is $6,595.
At Quiznos, chefs create special sauces for our subs. At Wrong Way,
Mustard? Mayo?
Quiznos has the Steakhouse Beef Dip Sub with pan-roasted au jus. Steakhouse flavors without the steakhouse. Quiznos, toasty.
All across America, they're getting ready. It's the Captain Morgan Ultimate Pose-Off. Enter, and you can win an ultimate high roller weekend in Vegas. Go to CaptainMorgan.com to enter.
Drink responsibly.
I needed help.
While other kids were playing games, Jenny was building sandcastles. No one thought she'd ever live in one, except for Jenny. Go inside the world's most extreme homes. All new series. Mondays at 9 on HGTV.
Find exactly what you need at Searchlight 888. Press 888 on your Comcast digital remote and go exactly where you want without leaving your sofa. Make your job search easier with Careers on Searchlight 888.
Knives. Call now and you'll get my Perfection shears and a second Miracle Blade slicer absolutely free.
But wait, we'll send you a second complete set of knives free. Just imagine, that's now nearly $500 worth of knives for just one payment of only $39.95. And if you don't think the Miracle Blades are the best knives you've ever used, just return them for a full refund. So call now.
The order of fire has been set. Amongst the ominous rain-filled skies, two men, Alexander Vinokurov and Michael Rasmussen, put in the time trial of their lives. With a soul full of determination, the Kazakh rode himself back into the Tour de France after most had written him off as a contender. And the Dutchman shocked everyone by holding on to the yellow jersey thanks to his newfound time trialing skills. The conservative Californian Levi Leipheimer rode a steady time trial but climbed up to 5th overall and is now in position for the next test. The Goliath, known as the Pyrenees, awaits the 166 riders that have made it this far. This is the day for the two-wheeled warriors to wage war on the famed Plateau-de-Beille. Get ready now to witness one rapid-fire attack after another as the road turns up towards the soaring skies. It's stage 14, next on Versus. After that wonderful time trial yesterday, which closed all the gaps up again, we now transfer the action to the Pyrenees, this beautiful range of mountains which separate France from Spain. The Spanish are here, the French are here, there's thousands of people here as we now head for the Plateau-de-Beille. The campers have been coming all week here as they now fill the whole plateau. This is indeed a 70-kilometre area of ski slopes. And we've brought the television for the crowds as well, because now they're expecting a great battle. Yes, welcome back to our live coverage here on Versus, everyone. We are set for another big day today. Phil Liggett with Paul Sherwen. Well, we've always said that this would be a battle of between 8 or 10 riders, and even after the time trial yesterday, we've no reason to change our minds. But, Paul, two teams particularly significant. They've got two men can win, Discovery and, of course, Astana.
Yeah, it's always been, I think, in the back of the mind of riders from Discovery Channel that Levi Leipheimer was the predetermined leader of the squad. But there are two riders, I feel, on that squad who've actually got a wild card to play themselves. Alberto Contador is a phenomenal climber and rode a very good individual time trial yesterday. And, of course, let's not forget Jaroslav Popovic, who many people think have got a great future ahead of him. Team Astana, where we'd actually sort of decided that Alexander Vinokurov was out of this race after the Alps. Well, yesterday, he banged on the team table to say, I'm back. But he's got a co-leader in the shape of Andreas Klöden.
So there's so many combinations that these teams can still play. But the one man who is really doing a great job at the time trial, which he's never done before, is, of course, Michael Rasmussen. He kept the yellow jersey for a 6th day. Now, Paul, he knows he can't time trial as well as the others. He has got to attack, hasn't he?
Well, despite riding a great time trial yesterday, Phil, he knows he needs to get time if he wants to win the Tour de France. He lost 1 minute and 41 seconds there to Cadel Evans, who's now only a minute behind. And look at how much time he lost to Alexander Vinokurov, 2 minutes and 55 seconds. I think before we get up to the final time trial, Michael Rasmussen has to have at least 4 minutes in the bag over everybody.
Well, let's first of all, before we join the live action, have a look back to early today. The rollout, 165 riders. Ventoso, who had the injured wrist, he didn't start today. The first climb, a second category climb at the Saint-Céré, and this was an interesting sprint. Although the winner here was David De La Fuente in the yellow, Juan Sola, who won in Briançon, and Jaroslav Popovic battling out for the points. Sola getting 9, Popovic getting 8, and as a result of that, we have now a joint leader in the King of the Mountains. And in fact, Rasmussen, Paul, as we expect, not choosing at the moment to defend his polka dot jersey.
Well, that was, after all, a second category climb, but it does for Juan Mauricio Soler bring him up to exactly the same points as Michael Rasmussen. And, of course, watch out for Jaroslav Popovic, who moves up into 3rd place in that competition. And I wonder that now that Michael Rasmussen is going to decide to aim for the yellow jersey, if he may well putting his chance of winning the King of the Mountains title for a 3rd year in succession in jeopardy.
Well, it might be the case. If you've won it twice, there's not so much reward in 3 times, not when you've got the yellow on your back. So his tactics are bound to change today. Although we're watching here, there is a breakaway clear of 5 riders just now. There's an awful lot of work being done by the chase behind. And Rabobank have found themselves some allies in Sonia Duval today. They've also shared in the chase. Very early on today, Rasmussen got into a breakaway group, and it forced the team of Cadel Evans to work very hard to bring it back. So there's the situation. You're right up to date with us now. We are about 25 kilometers from the start of the slopes of the first big climb of the day, the Porte de Paillere, which will take us over the Hors category climb. There's plenty of action to come here. All of the contenders at the moment are together.
The 2007 Tour de France on Versus is brought to you by Star Motorcycles. We build it, you make it your own. And by Michelob Ultra. Live life to the ultra.
Saab was founded by 16 aircraft engineers. Their spirit lives on in the turbocharged 2007 Saab 9.3 Sport Combi. With all the storage space you need, an estimated 30 miles per gallon, and a starting price under $29,000, you're closer to owning a jet than you think. Saab, born from jets. Log on to versus.com/fly to the finish for your chance to win a 2007 Saab 9.3 Sport Combi and a new Cervelo bike.
New Q horsepower is here, and no leading synthetic oil delivers more power than Q horsepower, which is why it's recommended by Ferrari for every oil change. New Q horsepower. Unleash all your horses.
Take me out to insurance. Take me to savings online. Auto insurance that's hassle-free. When you buy it instantly, let me quote, buy quick at insurance. If you don't save, it's a shame. For it's $100, $200, $300 you could save with the insurance name.
Save time and money on your auto insurance at Esurance.
When you take it off, you're gonna like what you see.
Scotch Blue Painter's Tapes.
Yeah, when you take it off, you're gonna like what you see.
Goes on easy, comes off clean, leaving professional paint lines.
Looking good, you got to agree.
Scotch Blue Painter's Tapes for delicate or multi-surfaces.
Go on, take it off.
The Tour de France, Stage 15, live tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. on Versus. The real drama continues.
MMA can be extremely artful, it can be scientific, it can be a chess match, or it can be a brutal, quick knockout that nobody ever expected it.
Hopefully, Connie, you're still up for it. Baby, I'm coming. I'm coming after that bell.
Welcome back. Yes, you can't keep a good man down. Vinokurov has forced his way back into the Tour de France this year. We're now on our first Pyrenean stage, and this is the Tour this week. It is a viciously hard section of the route for the next 3 days, interrupted by one rest day. There's the temperature, 71 degrees. It's struggling to reach that at the moment. Partly cloudy, but the sun is beginning to peek through on the top of the plateau. I can tell you, it was very foggy at 7 o'clock here this morning. Well, the rider's heading up here, a couple of hours away. Here's the breakaway, Jose Ivan Gutierrez, the only man in the break who's ridden the Tour de France before. He's best placed overall, 15 minutes off the yellow jersey, so for a while they might stay away. They've got a nice lead. They've been over 11, but they're currently coming down now as the chase has started. And the other 4 or 5 riders are all first-timers. We put our pulse monitors on Carlos Barrido today. That was a good choice because he is actually in the breakaway, so we should keep an eye on his heartbeat. So there's a Burkhardt and Rolf Grabsch. I must say there is a tremendous amount of support on the climb up to the finish in the Côte-de-Beille, which is where we are, for T-Mobile riders. There are literally hundreds of supporters, and Burkhardt is one of the men that they're going to support as they come up.
Well, making their way through these gorges, they are a magnificent backdrop for the race that we're seeing here this afternoon. But I think, Phil, a lot of riders are very worried about the Porte de Paillere. But not only the 16.8 kilometers climb up to the summit at an average gradient of 7.2%, it's actually the descent into Aix-les-Thermes as well, which is a very nasty and dangerous descent. And all of these riders realize that. Many of them have ridden this course before. And I think that will be in the back of the minds of the riders in the main field, because I'm sure Alexander Alexander Vinokurov will try and take advantage of his good performance yesterday.
I'm sure he will, Paul. Well, the river running alongside the leaders here is the River Aude. It's 220 kilometers long. Now it's time to remind you to come on board and join us in the Saab Watch and Win sweepstakes. Fly to the finish with Saab. Don't forget to log on to versus.com/fly to the finish every day. A chance to win a Saab 9.3 Sport Combi. And there's your keyword word today. You'll need it. What else? The Pyrenees is the keyword today. These are the leaders of the Tour de France. The River Aude is riding on their right-hand side. We'll soon be going into the department of the Ariège. Once you cross the boundary, it's all uphill on the way home. We'll take a break.
Your life doesn't have one dimension. Neither should your beer. The rewarding taste of Michelob Ultra. Perfectly balanced and made for today. Live life to the ultra.
While other kids were playing games, Jenny was building sandcastles. No one thought she'd ever live in one, except for Jenny. Go inside the world's most extreme homes. All new series. Mondays at 9 on HGTV.
Find exactly what you need at Searchlight 888. Press 888 on your Comcast digital remote and go exactly where you want without leaving your sofa. Make your job search easier with Careers on Searchlight 888.
Is holding on to our independence while still being able to get assistance when we need it. That's why if you live alone, I recommend Alert USA. With this system, if you're ever in need of assistance, just press the pendant and be connected to an operator who can summon help. With Alert USA, you can remain independent while remaining safe. And although the system is state-of-the-art, it's also affordable. To find out more about Alert USA, call now.
Where love means nothing and innovation is everything. Co-ed matches, coaches on the court, super tiebreakers, and superstars from around the world. World Team Tennis on Versus. The new champ of Wimbledon, Venus Williams, leads the Freedoms to Wrinkle Houston. Today at 11:30 on Versus.
Hi, my name is Femi Cancellara, and I told you a little bit something about the R3 bike. I was so happy to have it last year on the race, and it was the first time I had a bike like this. A lot of people, they say it's the best frame in the world. And
Visa Payway. Now there are more places and more ways to pay. Faster. Life takes Visa.
Houston, we are on final approach to the easiest place in the universe to book a room. Touchdown. The Bodad has landed. Motel6.com. We'll leave the light on for you.
Well, a beautiful view here of the Pyrenees. That's where we're going. Let me remind you, we keep you right up to date on our website, so go to versus.com. Live race updates, videos, expert analysis. You can even chat amongst yourselves and podcasts and more. That's versus.com for everything you need to know, see and hear about the Tour de France. Well, looking off the helicopter here, the Aude River coursing through the gorges, these beautiful gorges. We've got 5 riders in the lead at the moment, and their gap is holding, although it's been a lot bigger. So the peloton now beginning to chase a lot earlier than normal. I would imagine today, this is the first day in the Pyrenees, a lot of nervous riders here, anxious to prove themselves, I would think. Looking right down the Aude Valley here, heading towards the Ariège. Well, let's remind ourselves a little bit about the other side of the time trial yesterday as we take a look now at our top 5 HP moments, the crashes. This is all in the time trial yesterday. Number 5, the world champion, had a rough ride, early starter. He survived this one. A few didn't on that corner later on. That was Cancellara. This time he went down. And in fact, poor old Fabian was hurt here. And he didn't bother to race it. He just rode home after that, 107th. Number 4, Vladimir Gusev. He goes down for Discovery Channel in his champion's jersey. Nasty fall, that one. And yet he gets up and he keeps his high position in this race. He's a toughie. Moving on to number 3, Andreas Kloden. This was a nasty hip fall as well on the corner where Cancellara just about stayed upright. And he still came in with a fantastic ride, taking 3rd place on the stage. Man to watch. Number 2, the yellow jersey of Michael Rasmussen gets the scalp there of Valverde in the run into the finish, catching him for 3 minutes when he finishes 11th on the time trial stage in the ride of his life. And the big one, of course, well, it's Alexander Vinokurov. Led at every checkpoint. Take a look at his face. He ate this course up. A brilliant ride. Pulled back minutes on many of his rivals. So that's our HP top 5 of yesterday's time trial. Back to the action today now as we're wandering through the valleys here before we seek out the lower slopes of the hors category Porte-de-Beille. Well, it's looking beautiful down there, Paul. I would think our helicopter's getting a bit bumped around up at around about 1,500 feet because the wind up here on top of the plateau is gale force now. The flags are dead straight and it's going to be on the rider's nose, I think, as they come up.
Well, I think they need to take advantage of the good weather conditions this afternoon because they're actually promising bad weather for the next couple of days in the Pyrenees, and certainly the riders don't want that. The weather conditions in the Pyrenees can change dramatically in the space of 2 or 3 hours, and once you see the rain come down over these peaks, there's always the risk at the high altitude of snow, even at this time of the year.
Well, I say that Rabobank are going to be pretty happy here that the Sony Duval boys are pulling because they want to put Iban Mayo back into the action. Perfect area today, of course. He's running close to where he lives in Spain, and it wouldn't surprise me at all that he doesn't try to break away and win the stage today. David Miller told us on the rest day, which is nearly a week ago now, Paul, that Mayo was really confident and would likely win a stage.
Well, he has to do something special, and I think that's why he's asked the team to go forward. All of the Spanish riders are massively motivated today because they're just so close to home.
Good tempo riding here as they this is Christophe Renero, former King of the Mountains in the Tour de France, pedaling at the front, so he's got no reason to fear the big climbs today. We're still in the gorges though here as we race through towards the start of the first major climb. Well, we'll take a quick break, and when we do, we'll come back and tell you more about the one man who everybody is talking about on the Tour de France this past 2 weeks, Alberto Contador. He wears the white jersey of Best Rookie. See you in a moment.
Subaru Outback presents Inspired by the Great Outdoors. The wind in your face, the sun warming your skin, the rushing torrents of the sea. There's nothing like getting in touch with Mother Nature. Whether by land, by sea, or by defying gravity, the world of the outdoors is ours to discover. Some say it isn't for everybody, but then again, they've probably never felt like this. And there's no better way to get in touch with the great outdoors than with the Subaru Outback. With its rugged off-road capability, high ground clearance, and road-gripping all-wheel drive, the Outback can take you to find your own particular slice of heaven, wherever that may be. Safety and control of all-wheel drive standard in every vehicle. It's what makes a Subaru a Subaru.
Wow, this Subaru Tribeca has a great interior.
Award-winning, actually. Backup camera. It handles better than our car. But then again, it does have all-wheel drive standard, a 256 horsepower engine, and a top safety pick award, a DVD player, third row seats, and 4 cargo area tie-down hooks.
I love it when you talk car.
Introducing the all-new Subaru Tribeca.
Someone's about to lose their Selling Miller highlight privileges. Can I borrow that for a second? Hamburger, $11.50. Are you for real? Step aside, mon ami. Pardon moi. Excuse us. See, this beer is about helping people live the high life. It's a good, honest beer at a tasty price. We have all this move. Mess with the high life, and the high life will mess with you. $11.50 for a hamburger. Y'all must be crazy.
At Quiznos, chefs create our recipes, like the Steakhouse Beef Dip Sub, marinated roast beef, French onion sauce, and pan-roasted au jus. At Wrong Way, you just get the dip. Steakhouse flavors without the steakhouse. Quiznos, toasty.
We believe in going our own way, no matter which way the rest of the world is going. We don't believe it should take a lifetime of working for the man to ride with us. Low monthly payments available through July 31st. Starting MSRP for 2007 models is $6,595.
This summer, get the sunblock that also blocks the bite. Bullfrog Mosquito Coast Sunblock and Repellent. Up to 8-hour protection against harmful rays and pesky bites without the odor. Bullfrog Mosquito Coast. Block the burn and the bite.
Welcome back. Just a quick look at the overall situation behind Rasmussen, whose lead is now cut to exactly 1 minute. Cadell Evans of Australia second. There is Alberto Contador in the white jersey, now comes up into third place. Cloden comes up into fourth, and Levi Leipheimer into a high position too of fifth place. Looking a little bit further down, watch out for Kashikin. He's the second fiddle, well, he's the third fiddle really on the Astana team. Sastre lost a bit, expects to come back in the Pyrenees. Top 10 completed there by Kirken. Vinokurov from 19th is now up to 9th. There we are from the chopper as we look down on the valley road. We're looking for the little town of Usson-les-Bains, and that's where the climb starts officially. But this road really is on a steady drag anyway. Well, we saw yesterday a man that many people have talked about as a possible winner of the Tour de France. He has shown to be a complete annihilation in the white jersey competition. After the time trial yesterday, he climbed up into third place in the Tour de France at the first attempt. Here's more on Alberto Contador.
Alberto was an amazing climber. If you watch him on his bike, he did a steep climb and it was so easy for him.
His strongest quality is definitely his acceleration in the hills. I've rarely seen somebody who can accelerate on a steep hill like he does.
He has a lot of talent. I didn't realize it until our training camp in Solvang in January. He kind of gave me a surprise one day, and we were dueling out on the climb, and I couldn't stay with him. What he did in Pyrenees was phenomenal.
This young man, Alberto Contador, points the Discovery Channel on his jersey. He gets the win, and with that win, it will also come the overall victory here in Pyrenees as well.
I was very pleased with my performance at Pyrenees. That race was one of my main objectives. The victory in Pyrenees was an amazing experience for me personally.
And he's impressed me a few times this year with unbelievable performances. But it would be a big mistake to put the pressure on him now.
Levi Leipheimer is the leader of the Discovery team. At the same time, I hope to compete at a high level. I will be supporting Levi. My time in the Tour de France will come.
You just see someone on the bike, his pedaling style and the way he moves, he's very, very talented, and I think that at least one day he can win the Tour de France.
Well, Levi Leipheimer tipping him to one day win the Tour de France. Will it be this year? He's now up into third place here, 24 years of age. His first Tour, his career put on hold when he had a terrible accident and everybody feared for his life. He's come back. He actually has a titanium plate in his head. Well, as we look down on the peloton now, we've been talking about Alberto Contador, but the man who is still the team leader, and that's not in dispute at the moment, sits in fifth place, Levi Leipheimer. So here he is now at the start this morning with Robbie Ventura.
How would you rate your performance overall?
I expected maybe a little bit better, but you know, Vino went really fast, and To look at the other guys' times, it wasn't that bad to lose about a minute to Evans and Cloden. It's okay. I'd prefer to be a little closer, but certainly not a bad day.
Being 3.5 minutes behind, how are you planning on making that up before Paris?
Well, we're going to have to wait and see who cracks and who doesn't, because the next 3 days are very, very hard, and I think somebody has to crack along the way, and I'm pretty sure it's not me. So,
any attacks on the horizon?
Definitely, especially with Contador. He's got that explosive power, and he has a great chance to win one of these stages, and hopefully that'll work out for both of us.
With so many Astana guys in play right now, how do you plan on defeating them guys? They seem like a strong group of riders.
Yeah, they are strong, and they've shown that they're strong in the time trial for the past couple of months actually, and in the climbs not so much. So I don't know if that's changed now, but we'll have to wait and see. Things change every day, and you just have to pay attention and change your plan accordingly.
Thanks, Levi.
Yeah.
Well done, Levi. He's still very, very confident, isn't he? And looking forward to the Pyrenees. They've said, and Levi has said all along, since before we started, the Pyrenees is where he will attack. Well, here we are now in the Pyrenees. The gap is down to 8 minutes with these riders up front. Nobody here. They're now carrots for the peloton. There's nobody here going to pull on a leader's yellow jersey tonight, but just who will be pulling it on by the end of the day. Rasmussen has to attack. A minute over Cadel Evans, a master of the time trial, is nothing like enough. Well, we're getting very close now, especially with the leaders here. Before they do start the lower slopes of the Plateau-de-Beille. We cut through this valley, and there's only one way out, and it's 16.8 kilometers high. There we are. You can have a little look at the views from the Plateau-de-Beille. This is the first time, by the way, the Tour de France has ever been over it. It's going to be a tough one today.
Film, animation, and digital effects. I use my computer to connect these three worlds. I transform photos people send me, then email them back. I photograph my son's painting too and post them on his website. I love playing music. I even did the music for this commercial on my computer. I dream a lot, but I'm not a very good sleeper.
HP Pavilion DV9000T with Intel Centrino Duo mobile technology.
The Tour's wild ride has the critics raving. The furious finishes and grueling climbs make for damn good television. And Liggett and Sherwen are the best TV broadcast team in all of sports. Versus is there for all the surprises, disappointments, and fantastic finishes. The Tour de France, Stage 15, live tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. on Versus.
Bicycle Village, the ultimate bike shop. Bicycle Village has Colorado's largest selection of bikes, from tandems to trikes to top-end bikes. All the best brands and the largest selection. Over 1,000 bikes set up and ready to ride from the brands you want, like Trek, Specialized, Raleigh, Lightspeed, and more. Only Bicycle Village offers same-day bike service to get you back on your bike quicker. Plus lifetime tunes and an unbeatable performance guarantee on every bike we sell. And we always guarantee the lowest prices. Bicycle Village, the ultimate bike shop.
America, they're getting ready. It's the Captain Morgan Ultimate Pose-Off. Enter, and you can win an ultimate high roller weekend in Vegas. Go to CaptainMorgan.com to enter.
Drink responsibly.
engine what it wants. Always ask for Pennzoil. Get a 5-quart jug of Pennzoil high mileage vehicle motor oil at Walmart for only $12.22.
Yes, the beauty of the Pyrenees, but they're full of traps for the unwary, especially in the Tour de France, as the big peloton here courses through, closing in slowly on those escapers. 7:38 as we now approach the climb. We're not there yet. The peloton, of course, running over 7 minutes behind the leaders. But look at this now. They put all of the riders up front here from Sony Duval to start an early speed test here, I think, to try and get Mayo away in the forward group. Now, as we look here at the men from Sony Duval, and greatly relieved are the riders in orange from Rabobank, while another team come and do. We've got a camera today, by the way, in Johan Brunel's team car. Johan, let me remind you, is the manager of the Discovery Channel team, with a lot of cards to play just now. Let's go and eavesdrop for a moment.
7% is steep. So we know the beginning is steep, then it's a little bit easier in the middle, and at the end it's steep again. 10 kilómetros hasta el inicio.
And now he's talking in Spanish there to the Contador. Because Contador speaks no English, but he's trying to learn it on the American team. So he's told them the gradients of the climb, which is about to happen, the Porte-de-Beille. Only the riders who've come and trained on this climb will know it, because we have not actually raced over this in the Tour de France before. But I think we can show you a little bit more closely now the profile of the climb, which is about to start. This is the Accelerate mountain profile of the day. We've been over the second cat, and Soler there has done well. He's got equal first in the mountains just now. We've been through the sprints. Breakaway was on here. That is still on now. Now watch this now. This is where we go right up. What a springboard to race on to the final climb of the day. And the details are, it's 10.4 miles long at an average of 7.2%, and we race over 6,500 feet. Boy, we're in the Pyrenees. That's our Accelerate mountain profile. And now back to the boys at the front. They're getting on to just about the lower slopes, but it's still a little way to actually go yet. Well, not quite there, Paul, but the road here now in the valley is kicking up, and we're going to see this breakaway split, I think, pretty soon after the climb begins. Interesting to see that Sony Duval put most of the team on the front now, which means they really have got a plan for Mayo.
Well, Iban Mayo is obviously looking to move himself up into a high place in the overall classification. Yes, like Alejandro Valverde yesterday, he had a very bad time trial performance, which dropped him down from 3rd overall to 12th overall. But I think he realizes that even though he wasn't so good in the time trial, he's got good legs in the Tour de France this year, and he's got good confidence. And he knows with a climb like the Plateau-de-Beille at the end, he could change that fall into a rise in the overall standings today and the next few days in the Pyrenees.
And he's Spanish. He's got all the incentive you want. Now his own country is the magnet on the other side of the Pyrenees. And that's why all of his team are riding for him now. And here they are. And leading is the very strong rider there, Christophe Rinero, doing a lot of work. The boys of Discovery Channel have just put a man up here as well. It looks like Noval. And also the riders from Rabobank looking after the man in yellow. So I think they're all extremely nervous now, and they're afraid that if they don't put men at the front, they might miss on the move here. It's going to come on what looks like the first climb rather than the second climb. So the Porte-de-Beille, it's 16.8 kilometers. Might turn out to be quite a rip snorter as we hit this one. We'll take a break, so we're back in time for the start of the climb.
Okay, class. If you're in the South, you say, "Hey, feller, give me a Bud Light." Hey, feller, give me a Bud Light. In New York, you say, "Hey, give me a Bud Light." You got a problem with that? Bud Light, you got a problem with that. In East LA, you say, "Give me a Bud Light, Holmes." Give me a Bud Light, Holmes. More importantly, if somebody asks you for a Bud Light, you say, "Don't speak English."
Refreshingly smooth Bud Light. Always worth it.
Bud Light? Bud Light. Bud Light. Bud Light.
That's cold.
Who wants to be stranded with a flat tire? Changing tires out here could be dangerous, but with these tires, I don't need to worry. Well, I guess I'll be on my way.
Bridgestone, run flat tires.
Bridgestone.
Doing it. Even my car's been doing it.
But everyone loves their cars. They'll never believe it.
We have to do something. Esurance Auto Insurance can help.
Calculate your carbon emissions and find out easy ways to reduce them.
The average commuter produces a 3.4-ton cloud of CO2 emissions. By carpooling, you can cut that in half.
Special agent, we can all do our part.
The road to change starts here.
Visit esurance.com/SOS to find out how you can help save some green.
The Cervelo SL-CSL is a pure descending machine. Learn more and enter to win the Cervelo Dream Bike at competitivecyclist.com.
I heard that.
We'll leave the light on for you.
Welcome to a game where love means nothing and innovation is everything. Co-ed matches, coaches on the court, super tiebreakers, and superstars from around the world. World Team Tennis on Versus. The new champ of Wimbledon, Venus Williams, leads the Freedoms to Ringle Houston. Today at 11:30 on Versus.
The Tour de France, Stage 15, live tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. on Versus. The real drama continues.
Welcome back down deep in the valley there. I can tell you that the leaders have just passed the sign which says 18 kilometers to the top of the Porte-de-Beille. So they've started the climb, while the Peloton are going to be running for about another 6.5 minutes, but they are coming up. There's a little look at the lower slopes of the Porte-de-Beille as the riders start to move onto the climb now, but it's a long way to the top, over 10 miles uphill as we head up towards the Hawk category, or outside category, red dot there, and then we'll cross to the next one, which is the finish on the Plateau-de-Beille. All right, don't forget Saab Watch and Win sweepstakes. Over you go to versus.com/fly to the finish, and to play the game you need the keyword, which is Pyrenees. Well, it should have said Pyrenees, but it is Pyrenees. That's the keyword. There it is. Enjoy the game. These boys aren't enjoying this game right now, unless they're climbers, of course, and they'll relish the next few kilometers because sitting at the back here, we're looking at the Astana rider in the breakaway, and this is Antonio Colom. Now, just who is the leader of the Astana team? Is it Alexander Vinokurov, or is it Andreas Kloden? Well, we thought the best way to find out was to ask Frankie Andreu to speak to Andreas Kloden.
Today, with first day in the Pyrenees, you have 3 riders all within the top 10 on GC. How do you decide who's going to be the leader of this team?
Yeah, Alex is the leader from the team, and we see on the one climb before the final climb, we see how is the legs, and then we won't see what you make.
All right, good luck today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In the German, Alex and the legs sounded mostly the same. In fact, Alex was Vinokurov, and the legs, well, we'll see how they are when they get there, because they're about to start the climb themselves. They're running, as you can see, they're bringing this group back very steadily. They'll probably catch them on this climb, actually. They've come down to 6 minutes and 39 seconds and closing in. The polka dot jersey and the yellow jersey there, that's the situation in the peloton. It's both the same man right now, Michael Rasmussen. Although Juan Mauricio Soler, the Colombian, is now equal first in the polka dot. The big peloton, Paul, they're about 2 to 3 kilometers from the start of the climb, and then that big peloton, I think, will stretch out and snap.
We'll get a chance then to see who is going to be aggressive on the stage this afternoon. I would watch out for Alexander Vinokurov. And the workload of the leaders, Phil, is pretty much well balanced. Colombo, Gutierrez, Barredo, Chiruka and Kuczynski all pretty much giving an equal amount of workload to the success of this breakaway.
Certainly Barredo is enjoying the lower slopes. He's dancing on those pedals at the front of the group here. And I think the first man, as I said earlier, is going to be Alex Kuczynski, who's going to find this pace a little bit too big. You can see by his size, he's not a pure climber. And he's going to really be under effort to hold on to this breakaway, and he won't make the effort that's going to hurt him, so he has to struggle all the way to the finish. The two Euskaltel-Euskadi boys need to be watched. That Ziruka setting the pace right now, and I think this rider in the last few days has shown us he is a real discovery here for the Spanish riders, and he can expect 3 days of cheers now here in these mountains because he's a Basque. And it's not far into the land of the Basque over the top of the Pyrenees.
Well, there were a lot of Basque flags up the climb here to the Plateau-de-Beille this morning, and that was very early this morning. Everybody was up and ready to receive the Tour de France into the Pyrenees, and that's why we always expect to see the team with the orange jersey, Euskaltel-Euskadi, ride to the front on days like this. But for a change, one of the big favourites is not wearing the orange jersey. Iban Mayo swapped during the winter months to move across to Saunier Duval.
It seems to have done him a favour, actually. So there they are. They're the riders now who are defending for Iban Mayo, who slipped a little bit and dropped down to 12th from 3rd after his bad time trial. He's going to try and make amends today. That's apparent now. Watch out for him to attack today. He's looking for the win, that's for sure. We'll take another short break. Rejoin us on the call.
Somewhere between two highways, there was a really good station. Somewhere between breakfast and lunch, there was a roadblock. Somewhere between the kids and the grandkids, there was a second childhood. And somewhere between where you are and where you're going, there's a Super 8. See you along the way. Get more rewards with Trip Rewards at Super 8.
Play Mystery Hotspot to win a dream vacation, $10,000 and more at super8.com.
When you take it off, you're gonna like what you see.
Scotch Blue Painter's Tapes.
Yeah, when you take it off, you're gonna like what you see.
Goes on easy, comes off clean, leaving professional paint lines.
Looking good, you got to agree.
Scotch Blue Painter's Tapes for delicate or multi-surfaces.
Go on, take it off!
This week on the Golf Channel, Jim Furyk. He's the world #2, the defending Canadian Open champion, and winless in 2007, despite 7 top 10 finishes, including near misses at Colonial and Oakmont. Watch him make his move in the FedEx Cup race against a strong field north of the border. The road to the playoffs continues at the Canadian Open, Thursday and Friday at 3 and 8:30 p.m. Eastern on the Golf Channel.
MMA can be extremely artful, it can be scientific, it can be a chess match, or it can be a brutal, quick knockout that nobody ever expected it.
Hopefully, Connie, you're still up for it. Baby, I'm coming. I'm coming after that bell.
When it...
Look, honey. Rock Bottom's Backyard Barbecue, and they're tapping that beer you love. American Dream Ale. Hey! You're doing it again.
It's Rock Bottom's Backyard Barbecue, featuring American Dream Ale. Build your own ultimate backyard burger. The crisp, delicious Waldorf wedge. Our juicy 20-ounce T-bone, plus choose your favorite picnic side. Grilled food and chilled beers. Now that's a barbecue.
Bicycle Village, the ultimate bike shop. Bicycle Village has Colorado's largest selection of bikes, from tandems to trikes to top-end bikes. All the best brands and the largest selection. Over 1,000 bikes set up and ready to ride from the brands you want, like Trek, Specialized, Raleigh, Lightspeed, and more. Only Bicycle Village offers same-day bike service to get you back on your bike quicker. Plus lifetime tunes and an unbeatable performance guarantee on every bike we sell. And we always guarantee the lowest prices. Bicycle Village, the ultimate bike shop.
Live tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. on Versus. The real drama continues.
Welcome back. Now we'll continue our Bicycle Magazine's Tour de France stages you can't miss, and we've been right so far. The next one is stage 16, Orthez to the Col d'Aubisque, and that will air on Wednesday, July the 25th here on Versus. It follows the rest day in Pau, always bad for some. That's Bicycle Magazine, which brings cycling to life. The August issue now on sale, or go to bicycling.com for more information. Well, we're now looking here at Carlos. No, we're not. We're looking at the main field. We've switched here to the back of the field, and this is Gert Stegmans, the sprinter, who has now slipped off the back as the climb has only just started. Gert needs to get on with a few more riders here. Don't want to be left alone. Well, that was a bit early to see Stegmans slip away, Paul.
It certainly was, but in fact, at the front of the group as well, it's a bit early to see the hostilities here. You've got the Liquigas rider who's suffering at the back. This is Kuczynski.
Yep.
He's alongside Antonio Colom. And Carlos Barredo is the man who's seen the danger of splitting so early on, and he's jumped straight across the gap.
Well, Kuczynski's doing well to hang on. I thought he was going to go right out at the outset of this, but no, Antonio Colom is just in front of him. And the trouble is always being caused by Chiruka. He has the red number on his back, red for danger perhaps, number 78, and also the most experienced rider in the breakaway. In the black is Jose Ivan Gutierrez.
But one of the riders, like many of the riders in the main field, who's got bandages on his body. There have been so many crashes. We're still looking at 13 kilometers to go to the summit of the Porte-de-Paillere. It's a long climb, but it's made more difficult by the fact that it peaks out at just over 2,000 meters in altitude. I wonder if Kuczynski is saying to himself, oh, what am I doing here this afternoon? Why did I do this? But he found himself in a much larger breakaway group that actually got weeded down to these 6 men.
Well, at least he looks like Lance Armstrong there, Paul, with that low cadence, or high cadence and low gear he's pedaling. Trying to save his energy here because he knows he's not going to make it to the top with this group, but he wants to make sure he can make it to the finish with any groups that pick him up. So he's riding sensibly in the low gears. Gutierrez just about keeping a lasso around Chiruka rather, up there, because that guy's anxious to get on with it. Now, Gutierrez might well say to him, look, it's an awful long way, these climbs hurt. Just take it easy, save some strength.
Well, that would be the voice of experience, because let's not forget we're still looking at 63 kilometers to go to the finish. We've got this 13 kilometers left to the summit of the Porte-de-Paillere, and after that they've got a nasty 16 kilometers to the summit of the Plateau-de-Beille. You can already see the formation at the back of the group there, Phil, of what is shortly going to be the Autobus, the group of riders who get together on every mountain stage with just one hope left in their minds, and that's to get to the finish inside the time limit.
Yes, just look at this now as they drop off. These are the days they do not like. They have only one fear for the next 3 days, which is elimination and staying in the race. Philippe Gilbert, a little bit surprised to see Philippe so early in the rear group, 165 there. But he too is having great difficulty straight away today. Nicolas Vaugandy here, nearest camera, former champion of France. Robert Foster, the sprinter, I think that was probably to be expected. The Peloton, still quite a few of them down there, but look at that big bunch forming at the back. That is the Autobus.
It certainly is. I know all about that. These riders will get together. They'll form this group at the back end of the main field. These are the sprinters. These are the men whose bodies are that much heavier than the climbers. And not surprising to see 101 looking for the back step of the Autobus either, because Thor Hushoff is a big man to get through these hills.
Yes, Hushoff knows all about that. But as we see Thor drop here, let's just see if we can eavesdrop again on Johan Brunel.
Also on this climb, if depending on what happens, but if nothing happens, just ride as economic as possible. Si en este puerto, dependiendo de lo que pasa, pero si no pasa nada.
Also telling Alberto Contador what to do, I think there. Well, he says just ride, and if nothing happens, just save your energy, which is exactly what we were suggesting the leaders do a few moments ago, because this is only the first big climb of 2, and the second one with the finish on the top, they are bound to chase it all down. Well, Kuczynski has finally said enough is enough here. He's unhitched from the leaders and is heading back towards the main chase.
New new Subway Scrabble, a 1 in 2 chance to win instantly. Play new Subway Scrabble to instantly win food, or collect letters and play online for a chance to win thousands of prizes, including 10 $100,000 jackpots. Play often, win often. Subway, eat fresh.
The Cervelo SLC SL is a pure sprinting machine. Learn more and enter to win the Cervelo Dream Bike at competitivecyclist.com.
Some cars are built on a set of wheels. Ours are built on a set of values. At Subaru, we believe all-wheel drive is a better way to drive, so we make it standard. We believe in longevity, so 95% of our cars sold in the last 10 years are still on the road. And we believe the earth is important too. So every Subaru is built in a plant with 0 landfill. Now, is there a place for a set of values in the car industry? There should be.
We believe in going our own way, no matter which way the rest of the world is going. We don't believe it should take a lifetime of working for the man to ride with us. Low monthly payments available through July 31st. Starting MSRP for 2007 models is $6,595.
This summer, get the sunblock that also blocks the bite. Bullfrog Mosquito Coast Sunblock and Repellent. Up to 8-hour protection against harmful rays and pesky bites without the odor. Bullfrog Mosquito Coast. Block the burn and the bite.
Blockbuster Total Access. Like Netflix, you get unlimited movies straight to your mailbox.
I got a movie.
I can't wait to see that movie about the Queen.
You mean this movie?
My Place in a Few?
Sure.
But with Blockbuster Total Access, you can do something you can't do with Netflix. Exchange your movies for new ones right in the store. No extra charge, just in case you need them.
Hi.
Movies through the mail plus movies through the store. One low price. That's Blockbuster Total Access. Get a free trial at your Blockbuster store or blockbuster.com.
Versus Red, White, Black, and Blue Summer crashes into August with a week of takedowns, tap-outs, brawls, and buck-offs. New episodes of WEC Wreckage and Tap-Out set a blistering pace on the 1st. The PBR stampedes back into the weekend lineup the 4th. Brock Larson and Carlos Condit go Gladiator. World Extreme Cage Fighting is live on the 5th, and the welterweight title is at stake. Pugilistic Power is the program. Fight Night is live on the 9th. The Versus Red, White, Black, and Blue Summer. The suffering continues this August.
The 2007 Tour de France on Versus is brought to you by Subway Scrabble with 2 ways to win. Play often, win often. Subway, eat fresh.
Welcome back as we look down at the peloton, which is beginning to shrink rather dramatically here on the Tour de France now. Christophe Moreau, the first big casualty, has dropped out. Now he's 22nd overall. He's now 1.25 minutes back in the Tom Bonen group as we look at the main field here. Still a lot of riders. There is Rasmussen just watching his team. Cadel Evans is also there paying attention, and there's 1 or 2 riders now beginning to reposition themselves here before this race splits again. They've got to be careful they don't position themselves at the wrong end of the peloton. Somebody opens the door, before you know it you're off the back of the lead group and you've got to waste energy catching up. Here at the front, all of the yellow strip, and not the yellow jersey, the yellow strip of the Sonia Duval team. Their plan is obvious now, and they've probably signaled that to the peloton. They're trying to get their man Iban Mayo across the line first at the finish.
Well, it's a great indication to know that Iban Mayo is in good form. We've seen him in the last couple of attempts at the Tour de France, Phil, with disastrous form, and sometimes he's not even been able to follow the gruppetto going over the slopes of some of these mountains. But the fact that he's rallied his team to the front end of the main field means that he wants to try and do something special on the slopes of the Plateau-de-Beille. This is the leading group of 5, and all they can think now, they've been in the breakaway for a long time, and what they want to do is try and conserve as much energy as possible, but they know that there will be a major onslaught behind them from the main contenders at the front end of the peloton, and the yellow jersey may well be challenged on this first incursion into the Pyrenees.
Just the 5 Spanish riders. Kuzinski was the first to crack. That's what we expected. These boys might take a little bit more work before they do crack. Just Gutierrez has ridden 4 tours. His best finish came in 2004. He was 51st. But he's having a very good tour at the moment, is Jose Ivan Kuczynski. Lost only 15 minutes so far. Just looking down there at the peloton and on our computers, 76% they're saying Sony Duval done at the front now to the 24% of Rasmussen's team. That could favour Rasmussen later in the day.
Sergei Ivanov going backwards. He's one of the riders from Team Astana. He did a lot of work throughout the first 14 days of this race to look after his team leader, Alexander Vinokurov. And I think Alexander Vinokurov, Phil, yesterday paid all of his teammates back to show that he still can be a captain and a threat.
Well, just look at these riders here now becoming unhitched. This is Dario Cioni just passing through from Cadel Evans' team. Not a good sign for him. So the pressure is really on now as we get up towards a quarter of the way from the summit of the Col Contador. We'll take another break and come back and join us. They'll still be on the climb.
The 3 Series is here. With elegant styling and a powerful yet fuel-efficient inline 6-cylinder engine. Stop in and take a test drive today.
World Team Tennis on Versus. This week, the new champ of Wimbledon, Venus Williams, leads the Freedoms to Wrangell Houston. Today at 11:30 on Versus.
I needed.
While other kids were playing games, Jenny was building sandcastles. No one thought she'd ever live in one, except for Jenny. Go inside the world's most extreme homes. All new series. Mondays at 9 on HGTV.
Looking for your next home? Why drive yourself crazy? Visit homes in the newest communities across Colorado without ever leaving your sofa. Just press 888 on your Comcast digital remote. Then go to Real Estate on Searchlight 888.
While other kids were playing games, Jenny was building sandcastles. No one thought she'd ever live in one, except for Jenny. Go inside the world's most extreme homes. All new series. Mondays at 9 on HGTV.
Find exactly what you need at Searchlight 888. Press 888 on your Comcast digital remote and go exactly where you want without leaving your sofa. Make your job search easier with Careers on Searchlight 888.
Searching for the next mixed martial arts badass. All new episodes of the original series from the producer of American Chopper and The Ultimate Fighter.
Where it is, baby?
Tap Out. Wednesdays beginning August 1st on Versus.
Knowing where the deer were last season is a great indicator of where they will be this hunting season. Spring scouting and shed hunting can be very helpful in making your predictions for this year. If you do find some fresh shed antlers during your spring scout, you can be pretty certain that bucks will return to that area come hunting season if weather forces the deer to migrate during the year. And taking your youngster along to help with your spring scout is a fun and safe way to introduce him to this way of life we enjoy so much. Brought to you by Mobile Clean 5000, seriously tough oil for seriously tough men of all ages.
Jerome Bettis? Call me the bus. If you want to go the distance, you need something tougher.
Mobile Clean 5000? A synthetic?
Nope, it's conventional. The only one guaranteed for 5,000 miles.
Most car makers recommend oil drains beyond 3,000 miles. That's why tougher men demand Mobile Clean 5000.
Going the distance, like 13,662 career rushing yards.
You're a lucky man.
Mobile Clean 5000. Seriously tough oil.
Looking out across the low cloud here in the Pyrenees, we'll get above that today, believe it or not. When we came up this morning, we just burst through that cloud and looked down on it as if we were on an aeroplane. And we weren't. We were sat on top of the Plateau-de-Beille. Now, they're passing through the little town here of Michanis. As we look at the back of the group, interestingly enough, they've now got Vekman hanging on. We're just watching in the back here, former King of the Mountains in the Giro d'Italia, Fabien Vekman. His shirt tails flapping in the wind, having to get round and move back up towards the group.
Just looking at the back here as well, the rider from Team Rabobank is Grisha Nierman. He's suffering to stay in contact. All of the riders from Team Rabobank will try and stay in contact with this main field for as long as possible, because they know that later on, if their man Michael Rasmussen is isolated, he's going to come up against 3 or 4 riders from Team Astana and 2 or 3 riders from Team Discovery Channel, and they don't want that.
No change with the top 5 up front, although Beredo a little bit slow to react there when Colom came past him in the Astana colours. He looks as though he's getting under pressure now. Just 8 kilometres from the top of this major climb, the Porte-de-Beille. 5 miles, in fact, and the breakaway under pressure now. They're having real difficulty controlling the speed of Ruben Perez and Ahmet Jeruka from Euskaltel-Euskadi. They've been doing all of the pacemaking for the last couple of kilometres, and the rest have been following as best they can. This is their playground now. They've suffered for 2 weeks in the Tour de France. Now they're turning the tables.
Well, this is the domain that they really enjoy. They were getting to the steeper part of the climb at 8.8% and 7%, and that's where the big Spanish climbers really come into their own. Once the gradient starts to bite in a fraction, David Miller is sacrificing his personal chances here this afternoon for Iban Mayo, just in second position there. Watch out for this young man, Juan Jose Cobo. I reckon he's a serious tip for the future, and of course David de la Fuente bouncing around just behind David Miller.
Well, notice the yellow bandages there. At least he's conscious of his team colours. He's put yellow bandages around his elbows. He has suffered since the Alps with this skin allergy, which really has been most unpleasant. And because you can't use the creams that will probably cure the problem because of infringing the dope instructions, then he's not really been able to solve the problem. His only good thing is the hot sun has left us, so hopefully the allergy is cooling down a little bit. And this is the end of Ekman here.
Well, Fabian Regman has been battling to stay in contact, but I think even he knew that the writing was on the wall as far as he was concerned, and he's decided to call it a day and ride at his own tempo, riding very proudly, though, in the jersey of national champion of Germany.
Face of David Miller here, the Scot, who really has ridden so well for his team in this event. Rumours are he's leaving the team next year and going over to an American team, which will in turn hope to get a place in the Tour de France next year. And Miller will, there's even a rumour in today's papers, Axel Merckx has been asked not to retire and to also join this American team next year, which would really strengthen the squad.
Well, I tell you what, you've got to love the Tour, because it really is the rumour box. There's a new story every day coming clear, and I think it would be great to see Axel Merckx pass on some of his advice and some of his experience to some of the younger riders. The philosophy about the team. Now, this is a big surprise, because we're looking here at Felix Cardenas, who a couple of years ago won himself a stage in the Pyrenees to the Plateau-de-Beille. I don't think that's going to happen today.
You don't expect to see climbers of his quality, a former king of the mountains in the Tour of Spain, to be dangling off the back, but it is. And this is Burkhardt too. A lot of support for him on the last climb today.
Well, I did tell him a couple of days ago that that wasn't a great move riding in between the breakaway and the main field, because every little bit of energy you waste is energy you might need on another day, and I think he could have done with that this afternoon.
Well, they're splitting up, and I didn't expect some of those names to drop back. I also saw Anthony Charteau, the winner of the Tour de Langkawi, slipping back to Freddie Agricole, rider in that green jersey. These are the leaders. They cannot contain the riders from Euskaltel-Euskadi today, because they're being drawn like a magnet to where they live. And now this is Perez who's gone now. Jeruka tried it. Perez is now moved off to see if he can make any progress.
Well, these guys know that when they get to the Plateau-de-Beille, the slopes of the climb will be orange, with orange T-shirts supporting the team, which is regarded as being the Basque team, and they are riding into not too far away from the Basque land.
All of the riders in the top of the classification, they're still based in that big pack, which is thinned out dramatically, but they're sitting there near the front, behind the riders in the yellow jerseys who are setting the pace. Nobody has made an aggressive move from the peloton yet. And I think, you know, it takes me back to what Johan Brunel was saying. If nobody attacks, then just turn your gears down, ride low, just save your energy, because there will be a showdown coming on the final climb of the day, the Plateau-de-Beille. And you know, even when they aren't setting a tempo which ruins the leaders, just look at the trouble everybody else is. Mrs. Kobo now, who's been something of a revelation in this race, but he's been up front doing a lot of work to try and keep Mayo in position, and because of that, he's now paying the price and slipping back. Iko Kamano, the other teammate who has cracked there as well. I didn't catch the Discovery Channel riders we went through on the camera there, but one rider down, 2 from Discovery. Looking down on the main field, thinning out all of the time. Very soon we'll only have the prominent men in this year's Tour de France still in that group, but they're all in there at the moment, so we'll take a break.
Sono Paolo Bettini, sono campione del mondo e campione olimpico. Chiedo il massimo dalla mia bicicletta. Voglio che sia rigida, leggera, bella e precisa, ma più di tutto che sia veloce. Questa è la mia bicicletta. I am Specialized.
Saab was founded by 16 aircraft engineers. Their spirit lives on in the turbocharged 2007 Saab 9.3 Sport Combi. With all the storage space you need, an estimated 30 miles per gallon, and a starting price under $29,000, you're closer to owning a jet than you think. Saab, born from jets. Log on to Versus.com/fly to the finish for your chance to win a 2007 Saab 9.3 Sport Combi and a new Cervelo bike.
We know what men like. Mitchum Smart Solid. Powerful protection, unbeatable against white residue. Wow, let's see that again. For powerful all-day protection that doesn't come off on your shirt, be a smart Mitchum man.
At Quiznos, chefs create special sauces for our subs at Wrong Way.
Mustard? Mayo?
Quiznos has the Steakhouse Beef Dip Sub with pan-roasted au jus. Steakhouse flavors without the steakhouse. Quiznos. Toasty.
Want to see something cool? Motel6.com is the easiest place to book a great room online. See, when you start in the right spot, everything else just kind of falls into place. We'll leave the light on for you.
Enter the ultimate pose-off at CaptainMorgan.com.
Drink responsibly.
It was known as the Tour of Chaos. This year, who'll get it back on track? Andreas Klöden, emerging leader of Astana. There's nothing he can't do. Alejandro Valverde has all the tools to win it, if he can finish. Carlos Sastre, calm, cool, and he climbs like a demon. Levi Leipheimer, new style, new team, and visions of a ninth straight American victory. The real drama continues. The Tour de France, Stage 15, live tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. on Versus.
Welcome back. It's David Miller down there setting the pace now. The boys in yellow are thinning out, though. We're dropping them off the back now after early efforts here on the Porte-de-Beille. And we continue to move in on the leaders. The two Euskaltel riders are clear now at the front, and it looks now that they've split up again here. As they start the zigzags up towards the summit, we have a microphone in the Discovery Channel's car with Johan Bruneel. Little bit of action. Let's go and see if Johan Bruneel is okay.
Goose, we gave you 2 new bottles. Throw your bottles away. Take another one. Throw another one away. Ja, jij nog een is goed. Tranquilo, hè, Goose? Goose. Tranquilo, hè?
Well, take it easy, take it easy. I think all our Spanish was up to that. I must say, though, that to see how they gave a bottle there to a rival rider who was desperate because he was from Sony Duval and was dropping back. He needed a drink. Well, superb riding, Paul. He's got on his shoulder there, he's got Michael Bogart. Slowly but surely, this is becoming the peloton of race favourites, as one by one they're sent backwards. Now it's the turn of the smallest man in the race, Alexander Botcharov.
He too is succumbing to the pace. So too is Sylvain Chavanel, who was going to be the best Frenchman overall. I'm sure he was going to overtake Christophe Moreau at the end of the day. But this is a serious thrashing that David Miller is handing out. And he's doing it for one reason and one reason only, and that is to try and move his man, Iban Mayo, 11th overall, 12th overall at the start of the day, into a higher place in the overall classification. I can see Cadel Evans in that group, Phil, and he's got Chris Horner, the American, with him to look after him. Horner, I have to say, is riding a brilliant Tour de France this year. Alexander Vinokurov sitting at the back end of the field. Now, I wonder if this is just a little bit of psychology to make people think he's weakening, or if he hurt himself a lot in the time trial yesterday.
He said he'd be fine today after he finished the time trial yesterday, but you don't know how your body kicks in, and very often the first big climb, it's not good. If you get through it, the second big climb, you tend to feel a little bit better. There's his teammate. This is Colomb taking an early shower here, but he's up against the two boys from Euskaltel-Euskadi having a brilliant climb.
Well, they're having a strange climb, if you ask me, because one minute one is in front, the next minute the other's in front. One gets dropped, one comes back. And it's because of the gradient, it's because they can't find a common rhythm. But fortunately, as they get closer to the summit, they're still there, still in contact. But I'm sure they'll have a bit of a laugh about this tonight at the dinner table.
Well, there might still be a way in the way they're climbing. And look at this now, just dropping away off the back. De La Fuente's gone, and now it looks as though Vinokurov, he's not panicking, but he looks to me as though he is losing a few meters. The elastic has started to stretch here. Well, he lifts the pace a bit. He's got a teammate with him.
And he's got David De La Fuente just behind him there as well. The teammate who's dropped back to help him is Daniel Navarro. He's a Spanish rider on the squad. It's not surprising, really, because yesterday Alexander Vinokurov gave a phenomenal demonstration in the individual time trial. And maybe it's one of those things, Phil, where he's concentrated on his time trialing in the last couple of months to get himself ready for the Tour de France. And all of a sudden, he spent too much energy yesterday. He's going to have to try and ride himself back into this race. But he is a rider of experience and class, and he won't give up. And there is a nasty climb, a nasty descent after this climb, which he could use to catch back up.
Well, the rider with him isn't going to be a lot of help, quite honestly. He's not very strong, Daniel Navarro. The rider in front is Igor Martinez, who's also coming back, and he's a strong climber. And all this is being done by Britain's David Miller, getting rid of some of the big names here. You can see the wind. It's not so bad on this col, gentle from the left, but it is very, very strong on top of the Plateau-de-Beille.
Well, looking back there in 8th or 9th position, you can see George Hincapie in the red, white and blue. He's riding exceptionally well. It's important for Team Discovery Channel. You talked a little earlier, Phil, about the team classification, and yes, Astana did take the lead in the team classification yesterday. That's why they've got the yellow numbers on, but only by 54 seconds from Team Discovery Channel. And Team Discovery Channel have got a lot of cards to play here this afternoon, especially if Big George is still there to help Alberto Contador, Levi Leipheimer and Jaroslav Popovic.
Well, this is proving to be, we don't talk a lot about the team race, but it's been a very close battle between four teams the whole stretch since we left London. Astana were the team leaders for the first few days, and they got it back yesterday in the time trial.
Well, I shouldn't have said Jaroslav Popovic, because Race Radio just crackled with the name of Popovic, struggling at the back of the group.
There's a few riders in trouble on this climb, I think. Big names are beginning to struggle right now. Well, let's just have a look here. As we see now the climbs, as they make their way up. This is Beredo, and he's also been unhitched, I think, by the boys from Euskaltel-Euskadi, as we're looking for them. Oh no, that's a rider off the back of the main field. I'm not too sure who that was dropping away, but what we do know now is that Alexander Vinokurov is continuing his up and down Tour de France. He's got to recover from this and hope life gets better on the Plateau-de-Beille. We'll take it.
Your life doesn't have one dimension. Neither should your beer. Michelob Ultra. Rewarding taste that's made for the way you play. Live life to the ultra.
À Paris, quand un amour fleurit, ça fait pendant des semaines le cœur qui se sourit, tout ça part sur une scène. À Paris, au printemps, sur les toits, les girouettes tombent et font les coquettes. Avec le premier rang, tu passes indifférent, nonchalant, car le vent.
In a world where car prices skyrocket, only Colorado's #1 volume Toyota store can offer you Toyota's price to go. Go Toyota Arapahoe. We're so confident in our low prices. We offer you a 3-day, 150-mile money-back guarantee. This offer is rated G for guaranteed, and it's available now at Go Toyota Arapahoe. The light's green. Go.
And grueling climbs make for damn good television. And Liggett and Sherwen are the best TV broadcast team in all of sports. Versus is there for all the surprises, disappointments, and fantastic finishes. The Tour de France, Stage 15, live tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. on Versus.
Original music and lyrics by William Harley, Arthur, Walter, and William Davidson. You can enjoy today's performance for less per month than you might think. Low monthly payments available through July 31st. Starting MSRP for 2007 models is $6,595.
Wow, this Subaru Tribeca has a great interior.
Award-winning, actually. Backup camera. It handles better than our car. But then again, it does have all-wheel drive standard, a 256 horsepower engine, and a top safety pick award, a DVD player, third row seats, and 4 cargo area tie-down hooks.
I love it when you talk car.
Introducing the all-new Subaru Tribeca.
There's been no attacks as such on the climb from the peloton, but the pace, primarily being set by Britain's David Miller, has got rid of Alexander Vinokurov and Jaroslav Popovic. They've both slipped off the back now on a riding at around about 30-35 seconds behind the group. Looking through the trees there, it's still a very big group of climbers, and the other favourites are still in here. We haven't seen too much of Levi Leipheimer. We know he's here, and at the moment, along with Contador, that's good news for Discovery Channel. And now, as Miller starts to drop away, his job is done here, and he's done a good job too, because he got rid of Vinokurov and Jaroslav Popovic. Now he's got to hang on for the finish and avoid the chop. I'm sure he'll do that. Well, here we are now lower down the slope. Miller did his job, destroyed Vinokurov and Popovic, and himself in the process. That little bit was to be expected, as these boys now are just trying to stay in the picture and find the top of the mountain.
Well, that's the important thing now for Alexander Vinokurov. He's got to try and find a little bit of rhythm just to keep himself and limit his losses. But I think, Phil, he's really paying for that time trial. It was a phenomenal performance yesterday. He was the fastest man at every time split yesterday, but he's paying for that now because he's off the back of the group in chase group number 5. All of the other major contenders that we've talked about are still pretty much locked in the yellow jersey group with Michael Rasmussen.
And the rider setting the pace now is Thomas Dekker, the 22-year-old young superstar here, has got himself on the front to do his job as the super domestique. Rasmussen has moved up into third wheel. Rasmussen, sooner or later, must attack here, because he needs more time over Cadel Evans, and this is building up in tempo as now it's Bogart with Thomas Dekker.
I think logically, from a tactical point of view, what Michael Rasmussen needs to do is eliminate, as he's eliminated through the help of other riders in this group, as many people as possible, and then try and really put the hammer down on the final climb of the day. Because if he's got his climbing legs back after his performance in the time trial yesterday, he could actually pull back a minute, and that's what he needs to do. He needs to make his move now, not look for a long breakaway, but look for a time breakaway on the big final climbs, like the final climb of today, Plateau-de-Beille, and then again the climb up to the summit of the Obisque.
Well, this doesn't look good here. In fact, Vinokurov, his teammates asked him if he's all right. Vinokurov sort of shaking his head and is looking for the doctor's car. Gerard Porte, the doctor, come alongside him. So he's still not right, is he?
He's still not right. He really is suffering quite a lot, but you've got to tip your hat to the courage of this man to do the performance he did yesterday, because despite the way that he dragged his body through the Alpine passes, despite the fact that he was dropped on a number of occasions, he still came out yesterday and fought like a true warrior from Kazakhstan.
He pleased a lot of people. Now this man shocked a lot of people in third place, the yellow jersey of Rasmussen. And they're keeping the pressure on here now. This is building for an explosion, I think. Look at the face of Decker. Decker himself in his first tour, he's 40th overall, did a good time trial yesterday. He's not here for the high finish this year, but one day he may be a rider who's racing for a podium place. He's getting a taste for the Tour now. First time he's ever ridden it. You'd think he was a veteran.
Well, he's riding like a veteran, and what a way to learn, riding on the team of the yellow jersey. 4 Rabobank riders in the first 4 places there. Just behind the yellow jersey of Michael Rasmussen was the co-leader at the start of the Tour, Denis Menchov. He too has been damned a long way down the overall classification with a very bad performance yesterday. Menchov is in 16th place. Juan Manuel Garate now slipping backwards as well.
Well, it's every man for himself. A lot of people hanging on here now. That's Astalosa in a spot of bother in front too. We're just seeing these 4 riders here as they continue now towards the summit. They've come back as a foursome again, but behind poor old Alexander Vinokurov. What a weekend of ups and downs this man has had. He's going up and he's going down at the same time. We'll take a break.
Take me out to insurance. Take me to Savings Online. Auto insurance that's hassle-free. When you buy it instantly, let me quote, buy quick at insurance. If you don't save, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 300 bucks you could save with the insurance name.
Save time and money on your auto insurance at Esurance.
Introducing the biggest stride in sports drinks in over 30 years. New Accelerate with protein. Proven to increase endurance up to 29% over your old sports drink. So while others fade, you can stay strong. Sweat smarter. Don't fade. Accelerate.
Yourself. The 3 Series is here. With elegant styling and a powerful yet fuel-efficient inline 6-cylinder engine. Stop in and take a test drive today.
Film, animation, and digital effects. I use my computer to connect these 3 worlds. I transfer photos people send me, then email them back. I photograph my son's painting too and post them on his website. I love playing music. I even did the music for this commercial on my computer. I dream a lot, but I'm not a very good sleeper.
HP Pavilion DV9000T with Intel Centrino Duo mobile technology.
When you take it off, you're gonna like what you see.
Scotch Blue Painter's Tapes.
Yeah, when you take it off, you're gonna like what you see.
Goes on easy, comes off clean, leaving professional paint lines.
Looking good, you got to agree.
Scotch Blue Painter's Tapes for delicate or multi-surfaces.
Go on, take it off.
Welcome to a game where love means nothing and innovation is everything. Co-ed matches, coaches on the court, super tiebreakers, and superstars from around the world. World Team Tennis on Versus. The new champ of Wimbledon, Venus Williams, leads the Freedoms to Ringle Houston. Today at 11:30 on Versus.
Welcome back, Levi Leipheimer. He's doing what he said. He's not under pressure. He's doing a good ride right now, sitting behind Rasmussen. Behind him is Andreas Kloden, who I think now must be the team leader of Astana. And just moments ago, George Hincapie let go of the leaders. There are 24 of them left in this bunch now. Hincapie, though, has gone at about 1.5 kilometers to climb to the summit. So he just limits his losses here, and then he should get back on okay on the way down. There's the 24 men. In third wheel is the yellow jersey of Michael Rasmussen. As we go back up to the 4 leaders, who now seem at last to be going to the top together. Big tempo riding still by Thomas Dekker here. Behind him, Michael Bogart looking after their man. Denny Menchov is there as well. They're all around their boy in yellow now. They're trying to keep him safe on this climb. Keep him safe and don't let him use too much energy. It is going to be like a rabbit going up the Plateau-de-Beille because they are all going to attack. That's evident now.
Cadel Evans over on the left-hand side alongside Levi Leipheimer. I'm very impressed today with the ride being done here by Thomas Dekker. As you said, Phil, it's his first ride in the Tour de France. It's the first time he's experienced this kind of crowd, this kind of support, but it's also important for him because he's got the yellow jersey in his team, and that can allow you to ride just that little bit better. You remember how US Postal Service used to ride when Lance Armstrong was leading the race, and then Discovery Channel where they had him on board? It makes the rider change into a different man. You can push yourself sometimes that little bit harder when you're doing it for a teammate who you think is going to win.
Right. 1 kilometer to go to the summit now. Which one of these will get it? My money will go on number 78, Armit Chiruka. This is still the man who is ahead. This will be Kaczynski. No, he's not ahead anymore. They've just gone over the top of him. He's just about got room to get round that corner. That was a nasty thing to do. That's the steepest way around the bend. Thomas Dekker brings the field around. Good tempo riding. There is only 4 riders in front now, so a 5th place sprint here. And the polka dot jersey being worn. Now Chiruka is sitting in 12th place after his escapades the other day, and he gets quite a number of points here at the top.
20 points he could get at the top, and that would catapult him right up into 4th position in that competition. And let's not forget, it's double points on the final climb of the day, so there's a nice 40 points at store for the first rider who gets to the summit of the Plateau-de-Beille.
Which wouldn't give him the lead tonight, but will put him in a great place for taking it tomorrow if he's got the legs left. But right now it is Juan Soler who is looking to become the outright leader in the King of the Mountains, and that means Rasmussen loses that jersey tonight because Soler is right there, about 4 men down behind the yellow jersey, and we'll see if he goes for the points.
Well, Team Rabobank are a team transformed and transcending themselves because of the yellow jersey in their squad. Thomas Dekker here is riding the best that I've ever seen him ride, Phil, as the man in 2nd place as well, Michael Bogart. He's never really been a great mountain climber. He's a great one-day classics rider, but here he too knows it is important for him to be in presence and in contact with the race leader, Michael Rasmussen.
Camera's gone back a little way down the road with Alexander Vinokurov, who knows now that he's just got to hope he can get back into this race. The bye-bye isn't too encouraging, though, is it? I think he's saying to us he's out for the day here.
I think he just wants to be left alone to suffer in silence. No rider going through this kind of purgatory wants it to be completely and utterly recorded by the press all around the world. And for Alexander Vinokurov, I think he would feel a lot more comfortable, Phil, suffering in silence.
Well, as the race up towards the summit now, this has been a very steep and difficult climb, eliminating rider after rider with just tempo riding. And there he goes, the boy. It's in fact Ruben Perez who's going to go over first. And it looks as though his teammate is not going to challenge him, Chiruka. They deservedly go over the top 1st and 2nd. And a good ride by Antonio Colom as well. Now they're looking for paper to stuff up their jerseys to keep out the chill wind on the descent.
Well, I tell you one thing, Phil, you better fasten your seatbelt now, because the early part of this descent is fairly fast and not technical at all. But once we get down towards the outskirts of Aix-les-Thermes, it is a very scary descent. And I remember in the history of the past Tour de France in this area, we've seen some pretty nasty accidents on the downhill.
And the peloton are just over a kilometre back of those leading 4 riders now. As we again look at riders in trouble, this will be Dmitry Fofanov. Now he's also dropped off the back. At 50 kilometres to go to the summit now, you can count them all. And this rider from CSC here is Indigo Cuesta, as he also is normally a good climber. He's lost. One by one they're being dispatched. There is no longer even 24 riders in the group. And we're coming up here on Mayo. I think that's Mayo, isn't it?
Well, I thought it was, but it isn't, fortunately. It is Mayo. He's the man who's come backwards and the man who David Miller completely and utterly assassinated himself for. And now Iban Mayo is having a hard time. But look at this, your man,
this is what he
Maurizio
wants.
Soler, is going.
And all he needs is this sprint to take the lead in that jersey he's wearing on loan from Rasmussen. And he did this in the Alps. He got this incredible turn of speed. He crawls all over his bicycle. He's not really a very experienced cyclist, but he certainly can show boys in the Tour de France how it's done in the mountains. His first tour as well. Look at him working the gears there. Looks over his shoulder. He can take it easy now.
Well, he can take it easy, just needs to get himself the points, but he doesn't know where the summit of this mountain is. Let's not forget, this is his first ever crack at the Tour de France, and I don't think Team Saunier Duval are going to be very happy this evening, because Iban Mayo, who got his team on the front to do all of the pacemaking, has gone pop.
And trying now just to hold on to the tail of him. He will get back on the descent and he might recover. But just looking down, there's been no reaction there from Thomas Dekker or Michael Bogart. So this gets rid of the polka dot jersey off the shoulders of Michael Rasmussen, who has to concentrate on winning the Tour de France just now. Soler sits there in 22nd place today. But this rider isn't thinking of that position. He's now got himself the real lead in the King of the Mountains.
This guy did not start riding a bike until he was 17 years of age. He went out to see a local bike race in the area where he's from, of Boyacá in Colombia, and thought, I like this, I'll try this. And a couple of years later, they came back and won the Tour of Boyacá. And now he is the outright leader of the King of the Mountains, Phil, in the Tour de France.
Well done to Mauricio Soler. So the peloton now, what's left of the peloton, isn't it a small group? Quick count, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. About 19 or 20 riders have gone over in this group together. And that is all. And they've got rid of a lot of big names at the same time now. Wait and see if, in fact, Vinokurov can get back. There's the climb result for you. 20 points for Perez, but watch out, the points gained there by Soler means this now. He's gone 10 points clear of Rasmussen in the King of the Mountains, but it's double points on the last climb of the day, so it could change yet, and it could go back to Michael Rasmussen. These are the 4 leaders beginning their plunge down, still with a slight advantage over that break. And they'll take a few risks because they want to stay clear to win the day. That's their big interest here today. As we have Gutierrez sitting near the back. They don't want to take too many risks inside of the apex, come out wide and out of the saddle. Well, this is the sad side bye-bye. I think it might be from Alexander Vinokurov. The Tour de France goes on.
With 18 unique Star motorcycles, there's no limit to how far you can go. We build it. You make it your own. Exclusively at your Yamaha dealer. Now get payments from $69 a month plus up to $1,000 cash back.
The Cervelo SLC SL is a pure breakaway machine. Learn more and enter to win this Cervelo Dream Bike at competitivecyclist.com.
It takes a certain kind of person to appreciate this level of performance and technology. We like to call them Type A's.
Don't miss the Acura Chance to Advance sales opportunity. Acura. Advance.
Take advantage of attractive financing on all Acura models for well-qualified customers.
I heard that.
We'll leave the light on for you.
Jerome Bettis?
Call me the bus. If you want to go the distance, you need something tougher.
Mobile Clean 5000, a synthetic?
Nope, it's conventional. The only one guaranteed for 5,000 miles.
Most car makers recommend oil drains beyond 3,000 miles. That's why tougher men demand Mobile Clean 5000.
Going the distance, like 13,662 career rushing yards.
You're a lucky man.
Mobile Clean 5000. Seriously tough oil.
The vehicles drive through the years, changing body and style, but what about a vehicle that changes the world? At Longmont Toyota, the evolution we see in Toyota hybrids will change the way the future generations build vehicles. But a cleaner engine doesn't just mean a better environment. It also means a stylish, powerful, and smooth ride. Longmont Toyota, great selection, better value, and that local relationship you can rely on. Come in today and be a part of a revolution for tomorrow.
Toyota, a smart way to keep moving forward.
Comeback situation, 4 riders, still clear of a bunch now of 20 riders, and about to rejoin them on the way down is Iban Mayo, so he should get back on. They're not racing down the peloton, strangely enough. They're not pushing home any advantage because all the favourites are there. So that is why they're going to have to live to fight a final battle out on the Plateau-de-Beille today. There they are, and I think now back on the back is Mayo. Let's go and check in again at Johan Brunel's team car.
Popo, stay in control, eh? You're gonna come back, sure. Stay in control, no risks.
Yeah, well, that's what he said. He's speaking there to Levi Leipheimer. Stay in control and take no risk as they start the descent here. I think they're building up for a major explosion when the road goes up in the last 16 kilometers of the day today. These 4 riders, of course, might even start to pull away for a few minutes over the field. They're only going down at 20 miles an hour, which is rather slow at the minute. 42 kilometers from the finish. We're looking at riders going over the top as well as the riders go down here at high speed. 4 leaders, Paul, they might increase the lead for the next few minutes. Now, look at that, 90 kilometers an hour. So we're going down now at not far short of 60 miles an hour here.
56 miles an hour to be exact, and although Race Radio had said that Iban Mayo had made contact, you get a chance to see what contact is like on a descent. He hasn't quite got onto the slipstream of the riders in front of him, but he hasn't yet also reached the very technical part of this course, because once we get to about 5 kilometers to go to Aix-les-Thermes, it really is a very tricky descent that winds its way down the cliff into the center of town.
Well, look at this descent going down here now. He's got to get on quickly. Well, as we watch Iban Mayo here just about reach a flying peloton now. I don't know where we got that 20 mile an hour from as he now. Let's listen back in with Johan. What's he saying?
Okay. George and Popo are coming back, and they have bottles.
Ah, he's saying that Popo, he means Jaroslav Popovic, is coming back to the leading group and carrying bottles for the riders up front. The riders up front are Levi Leipheimer and Alberto Contador. So they know that Popovic is coming back and drinks are on the way. What a relief. Well, Popovic also getting back now and carrying water bottles for the 2 riders up front here, Leipheimer and Contador. And Mayo is on. Few deep breaths required. That was a fast descent.
a very fast descent. We were looking at speeds of pretty close to 60 miles an hour, but Mayo did not look very comfortable at all, even on the downhill section of the course, and I have a feeling that he won't be enjoying his ascent of the Plateau-de-Beille here this afternoon.
Now, sometimes you can start off bad and get better, and that's what he's certainly hoping for right now. Let's just have a look now. This is the bunch, so it's about 24 strong again right now. Bernhard Kohl is still in this group, which is good to see. The Austrian rider on Gerolsteiner. These are the 4 leaders, and as I say, they've nudged it out a little bit to over 3 minutes now as we head towards the next challenge of the day.
Sono Paolo Bettini, sono campione del mondo e campione olimpico. Chiedo il massimo dalla mia bicicletta. Voglio che sia rigida, leggera, bella e precisa, ma più di tutto che sia veloce. Questa è la mia bicicletta. I am Specialized.
Enemy of engines. Enemy of pressure, Pennzoil Platinum Full Synthetic with adaptive molecules that continually join forces to help conquer pressure.
At Quiznos, chefs create our recipes, like the Steakhouse Beef Dip Sub, marinated roast beef, French onion sauce, and pan-roasted au jus. At Wrong Way, you just get the dip. Steakhouse flavors without the steakhouse. Quiznos, toasty.
We believe in going our own way, no matter which way the rest of the world is going. We don't believe it should take a lifetime of working for the man to ride with us. Low monthly payments available through July 31st. Starting MSRP for 2007 models is $6,595.
Wow, this Subaru Tribeca has a great interior.
Award-winning, actually. Backup camera. It handles better than our car. But then again, it does have all-wheel drive standard, a 256 horsepower engine, and a top safety pick award, a DVD player, third row seats, and 4 cargo area tie-down hooks.
I love it when you talk car.
Introducing the all-new Subaru Tribeca.
MMA can be extremely artful, it can be scientific, it can be a chess match, or it can be a brutal, quick knockout that nobody ever expected it.
Hopefully, Connie, you're still up for it. Baby, I'm coming after that bell.
The Tour de France, Stage 15, live tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. on Versus. The real drama continues.
Today, the Pyrenees embracing the Tour de France, and what a great first day it is now, as the favourites have set a pace that has pushed Vinokurov out of contention once again. Jaroslav Popovic at the moment trying to get back in contention as he chases back in a group and still carries those bottles for the team members up front. No problems for Levi Leipheimer or indeed Alberto Contador. They're protecting 3rd and 5th places overall in this race and are planning to move up. And I would have thought that today would have been a good place to start. But we've still got the big climb to come, and it's clear now that the strong will have to hit each other on the climb. This is the yellow jersey group here, and it looks as though a rider from Astana, wouldn't surprise me if it's not Kashikin, has just started to move off the front there. There's the gaps for you, 2:58 to this group and 3:10 to the group containing Jaroslav Popovic. Well, Johan Brunier was under the impression that Pop was coming back, but he hasn't got back yet. Let's go back into the car of Johan.
So, boy, 9 kilometers, 8 kilometers now. 8 kilometers more downhill. Then we come to Ax-les-Thermes. And then we are in the valley for 16 kilometers, 15, 16 kilometers, until the bottom of Plateau-de-Beille. Ahora 7 kilómetros más de bajada hasta Ax-les-Thermes, y después tenemos
Johan speaks fluent Spanish. He used to live in Spain. I think he still does live in Spain.
Así que luego podemos
telling the boys what's going on.
After the downhill in the 15 kilometer valley, we need to take advantage to eat, take some gels. If you need something, we can come with the car. But it's going good, boys. I think right now it's around 3 minutes, 10, the gap with the leaders.
Amazing, isn't it? All the riders taking all that in while they concentrated. They send here 50+ miles an hour. He's absolutely right with his description. Absolutely perfect too. We are racing down now to Ax-les-Thermes, a beautiful little village at the foot of the famous Bernasque climb, by the way, but we don't use that climb today. We go right across the town, and it is 15 kilometers straight out the town. Then we turn left and climb the Plateau-de-Beille. That's when it all starts today, and they're still under pressure here at the front as Rabobank trying to drag Rasmussen back in. Okay, let's go and enjoy our Saab Watch and Win sweepstakes. Versus.com/, fly to the finish every day to play the game. You can win a Saab 9.3 Sport Combi and Cervelo bicycle. Today's keyword is Pyrenees. You'll need that to play the game. Here we are, still on the descent here with the second group. Well, they're not exactly descending in any form of common sense here, Paul. They keep jumping off the front of the break. We've got quite a long way now, probably the best part at 25 kilometers. Downhill or in valley roads.
It's very fast, this part of the course.
Just around this big hairpin bend here. There's 4 leaders here as they get around the corner. They've got themselves back together again, the 4 leaders. Constantly under pressure by the riders in orange. Don't seem to want to ride with the other 2. Vinokurov is still chasing and still off the back, and it's not good for him today. And we have a little compact group, slightly getting a bit bigger. Round about 25 riders now in the peloton at 3 minutes and 2 seconds. Well, I think that's going to be a big showdown on the plateau.
I think we can discount a return into the racefield by Alexander Vinokurov because he went over the summit of the Porte-de-Paillere 5.5 minutes behind the yellow jersey group, and that is a huge chunk of time for a man who so far has always been able to defend and always been able to stay in contact.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But just looking here at the way that Rabobank have got one man back up and has gone straight to the front to help them out here. That's a good team for you. These boys are speeding down towards Ax-les-Thermes. They'll be in the valley very shortly. I think this is the outskirts of the town. We'll take a break.
Saab was founded by 16 aircraft engineers. Their spirit lives on in the turbocharged 2007 Saab 9.3 Sport Combi. With all the storage space you need, an estimated 30 miles per gallon, and a starting price under $29,000, you're closer to owning a jet than you think. Saab, born from jets. Log on to Versus.com/fly to the finish for your chance to win a 2007 Saab 9.3 Sport Combi and a new Cervelo bike.
World Team Tennis on Versus. This week, the new champ of Wimbledon, Venus Williams, leads the Freedoms to wrangle Houston. Today at 11:30 on Versus. While other kids were playing games, Jenny was building sandcastles. No one thought she'd ever live in one. Except for Jenny. Go inside the world's most extreme homes. All new series. Mondays at 9 on HGTV.
Find exactly what you need at Searchlight 888. Press 888 on your Comcast digital remote and go exactly where you want without leaving your sofa. Make your job search easier with Careers on Searchlight 888.
Get me a lawyer.
Patty! If you were a man, I'd kick the living crap out of you.
If you were a man, I'd be worried.
I know I sound paranoid, but you're the only one I can trust.
Patty Hughes has a new associate.
Whatever it takes, fix this.
You must have seen something that they didn't want you to see.
Just keep her out of this!
Damages. Premieres Tuesday at 10, only on FX.
The critics raving. The furious finishes and grueling climbs make for damn good television. And Liggett and Sherwen are the best TV broadcast team in all of sports. Versus is there for all the surprises, disappointments, and fantastic finishes. The Tour de France, Stage 15, live tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. on Versus.
Want a shot at $100,000? Play new Subway Scrabble to instantly win food, or collect letters and play online for a chance to win thousands of prizes, including 10 $100,000 jackpots. Play often, win often. Subway, eat fresh.
Having you here.
Well, this is Aixley Turn for the Chasing Bunch now. Don't forget, tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, we have our enhanced primetime coverage program with Al and Bob. Plenty of questions for Bobke and all of the updates of the Tour de France, including what we can't show you in our live transmissions because we haven't time. Well, the race is on its way now. Don't miss that. Enjoy tonight with Al Trautwig and Bob Roll, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. These are the leaders now. They've just gone through Aixley Turn. They've got about 13 kilometers of flat valley road now. No more buildings as they race towards the plateau. Then they turn left, and then the race to the finishing line is on. The leaders now going through the centre, and that has grown tremendously, that peloton. But although we clock speeds of up to 80 and 90 kilometers an hour, they got back on, and that group now has got to be 45 strong.
It's a big group. They'll slow down now. They'll try and figure out what they're going to do for the approach to the climb. They're not too worried about the riders up front. Of the riders in the leading group of 4, the best rider is Jose Ivan Gutierrez at 15 minutes and 21 seconds. But Carlos Barredo has made a phenomenal descent. He's taken all kinds of risks. He's at about 10 seconds. And the fact that they pulled all the cars out of the gap there, you can see he's about to catch up.
Well, Barredo was with the group, so he must have come right back into it here. I'm very surprised he's getting back, but he's going to get back, so 5 riders should start the last climb. We're looking here at George Hincapie now, is also driving back into the group. Thomas Decker is there doing the hard work. Cole of Austria for Gerolsteiner. Bit of a runny nose for the yellow jersey, or was it sweat? But he hasn't put a wheel wrong yet today, Michael Rasmussen. And I'm sure, Paul, he's going to try and hurt these boys on the climb.
Well, George Hincapie has come to the front for only one reason. That's to try and set something up for a stage victory for Team Discovery Channel here this afternoon. And they have a man who's got an incredible turn of acceleration, and that is Alberto Contador. And I'm sure that's what Big George is thinking about. George knows that if he got dropped on the Porte-de-Payer, he won't be going to the summit of the Plateau-de-Beille with the leading group, so he might as well do some work here for the team.
Well, that's Kuzinski putting a bottle in his pocket. He was in the break, and he's come back up to this leading group as well. Cadell Evans, there he is, just going through in the pink jersey, number 41. He's keeping an eye on everyone. Really, he's in the best position in this race. He's not carrying the pressure of the yellow jersey. He's best placed of everybody else in the Tour. He knows the leader can't ride a time trial to beat him. He's just going to mark his men.
I always feel sorry for a guy like this. There you can just see Carlos Barredo, and he's around about 100 meters off the back of this group. These guys are working. They've got absolutely no reason at all to wait for him. So he's riding at exactly the same speed as they are. And it's, you can almost, in a situation like this, you can almost reach out and touch the breakaway group in front of you, but you can't just nail down that last 100 meters.
Well, Carlos Berrido, well known in Australia because he won the 3rd stage of the Tour Down Under last year. I'm a little bit surprised he got dropped anyway, but they did hit him hard, these riders in orange. It looks to me as though Gutierrez knows he's coming. He wants a drink. But don't forget that, sorry Paul, but let's remind everybody that in the group, most of the favourites in that big chase group at about 3.5 minutes. The only one we've lost today, sadly to say, I have to say, Alexander Vinokurov. He's now out of the hunt, I feel, but you never know the way he fights back.
Well, he will fight back if he's given the chance to, but I think George Hincapie is on the front of the main field trying to chase these men.
Well, these are the riders here who are causing real hurt. These 2 riders from Euskaltel-Euskadi. You know, they may survive the Plateau-de-Beille. They seem full of fight, and they're going to go on to the lower slopes. It was down to 2 minutes plus, but they're going to go on to the slopes. They could be tickling 4 minutes lead at the bottom as Hincapie tries to pull Contador and Leipheimer back into contention.
Film, animation, and digital effects. I use my computer to connect these 3 worlds. I transform photos people send me, then email them back. I photograph my son's painting too and post them on his website. I love playing music. I even did the music for this commercial on my computer. I dream a lot, but I'm not a very good sleeper.
HP Pavilion DV9000T with Intel Centrino Duo mobile technology.
Visa PayWave. Now there are more places and more ways to pay. Faster. Life takes Visa.
The Cervelo SLC SL is a pure climbing machine. Learn more and enter to win the Cervelo Dream Bike at competitivecyclist.com.
When you take it off, you're gonna like what you see.
Scotch Blue Painter's Tape. Goes on easy, comes off clean, leaving professional paint lines. Scotch Blue Painter's Tape.
They're crossing the country, dropping in on the biggest names in the business, searching for the next mixed martial arts badass. All new episodes of the original series from the producer of American Chopper and The Ultimate Fighter.
Where he lives, baby!
Tap Out. Wednesdays beginning August 1st on Versus. The Tour de France, Stage 15, live tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. on Versus. The real drama continues.
Bicycle Village, the ultimate bike shop. Bicycle Village has Colorado's largest selection of bikes, from tandems to trikes to top-end bikes. All the best brands and the largest selection. Over 1,000 bikes set up and ready to ride from the brands you want, like Trek, Specialized, Raleigh, Lightspeed, and more. Only Bicycle Village offers same-day bike service to get you back on your bike quicker. Plus lifetime tunes and an unbeatable performance guarantee on every bike we sell. And we always guarantee the lowest prices. Bicycle Village, the ultimate bike shop.
In a world where car prices skyrocket, only America's #1 Subaru store can guarantee the lowest price. Go Subaru. We're so confident our prices are the lowest. We offer you a 3-day, 150-mile money-back guarantee. This offer is rated G for guaranteed, and it's available now at the Go Subaru nearest you. The light screen. Go.
Welcome back as Big George Hincapie still working away while we were at break. He's never been anywhere except on the front here. And the Rasmussen boys are beginning to mass. This is going to be a huge explosion on the Plateau-de-Beille. That time trial has only caused the race to be even closer. The polka dot jersey there being worn now by Wright, by Mauricio Sola. I'm sure he's going to attack. And in that group too, of course, are all of the principal riders now for the overall. Well, as we look down the helicopters, let's have a look at some great descending here, as we now have our power descent brought to us by Saab. And this is how the leaders got down, trying to keep two riders, Euskaltel-Euskadi, under control. Then the peloton, keeping gaps between themselves so they can see exactly where they're going. Just look at these flicks left and right as they go down at 50 kilometers an hour. That's our Saab power descent. Let's go back to the action. And Burrito got on. Well, that was a huge, huge effort. A few deep breaths required now. 25 kilometers for the peloton, Paul. Nice to see Burrido's made it, and just in time to go off the back, I would think. He can't be far from turning left to go up the mountain.
Well, at least by making junction with that leading group of 4 riders, swelling the number to 5, he can have an easy ride down the valley road and doesn't have to worry too much about battering his head against the wind, because as you said earlier on a number of occasions, Phil, the wind at the summit of this climb is a very strong headwind, and that, I think, is going to create a lot of havoc once the riders try to attack this ascent.
Well, it's just 5 kilometers from that left turn now onto the climb. And so, as we watch the leaders, at 3:07 is the gap now. And because we're nearly on the climb, we'll take another quick break because we want to bring you the climb commercial free.
The Cervelo SL-CSL is a pure descending machine. Learn more and enter to win the Cervelo Dream Bike at CompetitiveCyclist.com.
Let's go. Here it is, home of the $20 cover charge. $20. This is unbelievable. Don't mind us. See, this beer is about helping people live the high life. It's a good, honest beer at a tasty price. It's simple. You know, there's no cover charge for the high life. I got a shotgun. That's what you get for messing with the high life.
With 18 unique Star motorcycles, there's no limit to how far you can go. We build it. You make it your own. Exclusively at your Yamaha dealer. Now get payments from $69 a month plus up to $1,000 cash back.
At Quiznos, chefs create special sauces for our subs. At Wrong Way,
mustard? Mayo?
Quiznos has the Steakhouse Beef Dip Sub with pan-roasted au jus. Steakhouse flavors without the steakhouse. Quiznos, toasty.
Special Agent, we have your next mission.
Thanks, boss, but my car's pretty dead right now.
When can you get back on the road?
Hey, I'll show you. When Esurance policyholders get their cars repaired at one of Esurance's certified body shops, they can monitor repairs online 24/7.
It's like watching your car come back to life.
I'll be back on the road in no time.
Make it your mission to save on hassle-free auto insurance. Visit Esurance.com today.
Jerome Bettis? Call me the bus. If you want to go the distance, you need something tougher.
Mobile Clean 5000, a synthetic?
Nope, it's conventional. The only one guaranteed for 5,000 miles.
Most car makers recommend oil drains beyond 3,000 miles. That's why tougher men demand Mobile Clean 5000.
Going the distance, like 13,662 career rushing yards.
You're a lucky man.
Mobile Clean 5000. Seriously tough oil.
It was known as the Tour of Chaos. This year, who'll get it back on track? Andreas Klöden, emerging leader of Astana. There's nothing he can't do. Alejandro Valverde has all the tools to win it, if he can finish. Carlos Sastre, calm, cool, and he climbs like a demon. Levi Leipheimer, new style, new team, and visions of a ninth straight American victory. The real drama continues. The Tour de France, Stage 15, live tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. on Versus.
peace and tranquility of the Plateau-de-Beille. Let me quickly run through the day. After 63 kilometers, 6 men led by 11 minutes 20 at 142 on the climb of the Porte-de-Paille. Vinokurov cracks and dropped from the yellow jersey group. At the top, it was Mauricio Sola who took the mountains jersey with a 10-point lead over the yellow jersey Rasmussen. Now we're with the main group here, being dragged along by Big George Hincapie, who's pulling them to the foot of the Plateau-de-Beille. Then everyone is going to release the favourites to battle it out towards the line. Every second will surely count now. We still have a breakaway of 5 riders up front, and Burrido, having just got back up to them, we're not seeing too much of them because, as you will understand, and rightly so, our French television cameras know that this is where the Tour de France is right now. And look at the face of George Hincapie being followed by Thomas Dekker. Behind him, I think it's Michael Bogart. Can't see his face anymore. And just what is that Colombian rider planning? Soler, he's never dropped further back than about 6 or 7 men. And what is the yellow jersey planning too? Because his men have given him a super ride to the base of the climb. Now, this is an extremely good day of racing in the Pyrenees, but they're all good this week in the Pyrenees. And tomorrow, when we go to Loudon-Viel, is going to be equally as difficult. We're only just getting into these climbs, so stay with us tomorrow. Note the names on the boards. We're coming to you early because the action will start early, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time, as we go into the belly of the Pyrenees tomorrow, heading from Foix, which is just down the road from where we are now, to Loudon-Viel-le-Luron. And I'll tell you what, if these boys can't split up today, I'll guarantee they will split up tomorrow. So that's all tomorrow. Remember the time, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time, as we now continue towards the base of the climb. As the 5 leaders are now not very far away from turning on to the Plateau-de-Beille, Paul, the peloton still being dragged along by George Hincapie. And Carlos Paredo even doing a bit of work in that front group right now. These boys are just settling in now. This is going to be a doer battle, I think.
Look how Team Discovery Channel there in about 10th place have got themselves together. You can see first in that line of jerseys from Team Discovery Channel, the black and green jerseys, Jaroslav Popovic. He was dropped on the Porte-de-Paille. He's pacing there, Levi Leipheimer. And Leipheimer's got on his wheel the young man who everybody's expecting to launch an attack on this climb, Alberto Contador.
Looking at the 5 leaders here, 2:42 is the gap, so they have actually started to pull this back on the flatter roads. Once we're through this village, we'll be heading towards the left-hand turn. 16.4, we must be virtually on the climb here, Paul. I think we might have missed the turn, but it can only just be through the town here of Les Cabanes. There's the climb sign, 16 to go. Looking down on the red roofs of Les Cabanes, that is the town which will frighten half the race, because this is where the time starts for the climb of the Plateau-de-Beille. We turn left now, the climb will begin. 16 very, very steep kilometers, and the leading group goes to the climb with a lead of 2 minutes 38 seconds. Well, that's it. Now we just wait for the main field to make that. They're 2.5 minutes or so behind. And as they will shortly be turning into Les Cabanes, we'll take our last break before we take you all the way up the climb to the finish.
At Subaru of Indiana, we make cars that are safe. We make cars with all-wheel drive, standard. We make cars that last. In fact, 95% of our cars sold in the last 10 years are still on the road. But the most important thing we make?
Welcome to a game where love means nothing and innovation is everything. co-ed matches, coaches on the court, super tiebreakers, and superstars from around the world. World Team Tennis on Versus. The new champ of Wimbledon, Venus Williams, leads the Freedoms to Wrinkle Houston. Today at 11:30 on Versus. While other kids were playing games, Jenny was building sandcastles. No one thought she'd ever live in one, except for Jenny. Go inside the world's most extreme homes. All new series. Mondays at 9 on HGTV.
Find exactly what you need at Searchlight 888. Press 888 on your Comcast digital remote and go exactly where you want without leaving your sofa. Make your job search easier with Careers on Searchlight 888.
We believe in going our own way, no matter which way the rest of the world is going. We don't believe it should take a lifetime of working for the man to ride with us. Low monthly payments available through July 31st. Starting MSRP for 2007 models is $6,595.
What it wants. Always ask for Pennzoil. Get a 5-quart jug of Pennzoil high mileage vehicle motor oil at Walmart for only $12.22.
Plateau-de-Beille is definitely a difficult climb.
Like on paper, it doesn't look that hard. And then it's like you hit that thing and it's just like hell. It's real hard day.
Plateau-de-Beille is a dead-end road.
When you're going up a 30K climb, if it's going to be a summit finish, then it's going to be hard. All it takes is one rider better than you.
The stage is finishing on top, and all the riders, they will have to race all out.
No, I think that'll be one of the Queen stages.
So here we are. This is the view from the top of the plateau. The riders have just come through the bottom village now. So now they're going to unleash all of their anger, if they've got the strength left, as they start this climb. Let's have a look at our Accelerate mountain profile. It's the final climb of the day. We started with the second category. We've been through the 2 sprints. We still have surviving up front 5 riders from the original Breakaway. They've gone over the top of the climb of the Plateau-de-Beille. Now they're on the big one, the Plateau-de-Beille, and it's 10.4 miles at 7.2%, and it works out at 6,565 feet. Now let's get down to the action. The bunch has just started the climb. Immediately they started the climb, George Hincapie swung off the front. The gap now is opening up. Cerudo has gone away at the front. 2 minutes 16, Paul. Chiruka still away, and the peloton. I just got this feeling that Rasmussen is waiting for his moment now. He's still got 2 teammates. This is Michael Bogert.
He's going to use his teammates as much as possible. Look at the face of Denny Menchov there on the right-hand side, one of complete and utter concentration. Chiruka in the leading group. He's battling with his machine, battling with his body. He's all over, and he's just cracked Gutierrez.
Well, listen, I don't think he has. Gutierrez has gone back in. It looked like he had. But Chiruka, first-time Tour rider, a young lad, is really wanting to win this stage, and he's going to get all the support. You won't believe the support for the Basque on this climb. They recognise him. It's largely Spanish speakers now. You can see on the road the name of Contador. That's the rider they think could win. And poor old Carlos Perrido, he just gets on. He's gone off. He's got back. Now he's gone again.
Well, that's the tough thing about the Tour. You know, even if you're involved in a big battle on one of the stages, when you get to a mountaintop finish like this, Phil, you've still got to drag your body up to the summit to stay in the race. To do this again tomorrow, have a rest day, and do it again the day after that.
Well, 13.5 kilometers to go. These other two are giving as good as they get. They've sensed that Chiruka is trying to beat them, so they're not helping him now. This is back in the main field here now, as we can. This is Paolo Sabadelli here. I think he's just about dropped from the group. He's behind.
He's riding there with Charlie Wagailis. Wagailis had stayed in the group for as long as possible to help Manuel Beltran. And Manuel Beltran has also been dropped for the group, and that's a bit of a surprise.
They're saying from the race now is 2 minutes 5, accept 2:4, that's good enough for us. As we're now seeing one after one, this is Thomas Dekker, done a brilliant job for his team now. And that's an acceleration by Antonio Colom now. So the young man, Ahmet Chiruka, can he react? He's now getting a little bit of his own medicine. He's trying to get back on.
Well, look at him. He's the slightest built rider in the whole of the peloton of the Tour de France. And you can hear from the side of the road where they're all shouting, venga, venga, venga. They want this man to go. Spain has turned out to support the Tour de France, and they're being treated to 3 Spanish riders battling it out at the front.
Well, at the moment, we're operating 2 Tours de France here. These are the boys who want the stage win. They're too far behind to win the race. 2 minutes behind them are the guys, all of them except Vinokurov, who can win the race in Paris. These 3 are Spanish, a very special reason to be here at this point of the course, because over the top you can just see Spain.
Well, you can see Spain. If you look the other way, you can also see the Principality of Andorra, and what that means is you're right in the heart of the Pyrenees. This young man, he gave so much this afternoon, but I think the power has disappeared because Antonio Colom has flown around the corner. But what's more important is if you look at the top, you've got 13 kilometers to go and you've got 1 minute 57, then all of a sudden you realize the main field is starting to pull their way back.
Antonio Colom here, he got a little bit tired, I think, of Chiruka throwing all those punches at him. So he decided to lift the acceleration for as long as he could hold it to crack him. Now he'll settle back down into his own climbing rhythm. Back to the leaders with the yellow jersey. Look at the field behind now. Again, beginning to thin out here. Inigo Cuesta, Frank Schleck's group, by the way, has been dropped. Have you seen Carlos Sastre?
No, Carlos Sastra's in this group here. He's very comfortable. Frank Schleck is in a group 5 minutes behind. While we look here at Jaroslav Popovic, Inigo Cuesta disappearing from the group. He was in the group of his leader, Carlos Sastre, but now his work has been done. And moving a little bit further up, we can see other riders disappearing from the group. This rider here is going to be Moses Duenas Nevada from Agri-Tubel, and also
Kim
going
Kirken.
backwards is Kirken.
And that's more important. He sits in 10th place overall. And Kim has been riding extremely well. Champion of Luxembourg last year. But it looks as though he has unhooked from the train. This is becoming a very, very crucial group.
Well, this is Christian van der Velde. That's Jens Voigt. Can you imagine that Jens Voigt is still in this group?
No, it must be the second group, because we must have dropped down a group here. As they split away from the field here, they're all going off the back of the leading group now. So too is Carpets. They are all unhitching now, and it's under the pressure at the front of Rabobank. This is Menchov.
Menchov, followed by Alberto Contador, followed by Michael Rasmussen. Andreas Kloden looking comfortable over to the left-hand side in the pink and black jersey is Cadel Evans. Michael Bogard has done his job, but he doesn't want to give up. He knows that if you're in the yellow jersey, you may need some assistance, so he's going to try and stay there for as long as possible. Now it's Chris Horner's turn to be unhitched.
Chris Horner is showing signs of cracking as we go through the field here. Mayo again, who got back on the descent, is not coming up with the goods at the most crucial stage of the day. Each and every one of the riders are now slipping away. And Harma Zubeldia is the rider in orange here. He also is dropping off, and he was also holding a fairly high place overall. He was 18th in the Tour de France.
Aymar Zubeldia would hope to ride well in the Pyrenees. This is the terrain of Team Euskaltel-Euskadi as we move forward to see what sort of damage is being done here. This is Alejandro Valverde, also in difficulty. Don't look at me. Please let me do this in silence. There is Mikel Astrolosa just in front of him, and I wouldn't be surprised to see just a little bit further forward Oscar Pereira as well.
Well, we're looking here. Don't forget that Astolosa was dropped on the previous climb. Now he's gone. There's Pereiro, number 11. The two top boys on Case de Pont look at each other and say, we're in trouble here, because it's all down to Jaroslav Popovic, who was dropped on the previous climb, came back with the drinking bottles, and he's now doing George Hincapie's job on the climb.
Carlos Sastre is in this group. He's doing what he's done so well since the start of the fall, just sitting there. He's in 5th position there, just behind the yellow jersey. Cadel Evans is on the other side of the yellow jersey, riding comfortably, sitting at the back of the group. You can see Levi Leipheimer is very much in contest as well.
2 minutes. Don't forget, they're slowly but surely catching the leaders up front. That's not their target. They're trying to set a tempo to break the others. No signs of distress for Rasmussen nor Cadel Evans on the far left.
What about the Jaroslav Popovic? This is Mikel Astroloza, started the day in 8th place in the overall classification. He wants to try and stay there for Spain if he can, and he's trying to pull himself back into this group. He may well survive, but I reckon Jaroslav Popovic is doing a phenomenal job. There is Levi Leipheimer just at the back. Popovic was dropped on the Porte-de-Paillere, and all of a sudden he realizes we've got a chance to win this stage.
Andries Kloden taking a drink, not looking in any trouble. He's the leader of the team now. He knows it. Watch out for Juan Soler, 219. He doesn't ride very gracefully, but he certainly flies up mountains. He can go with anything. Then somebody's accelerated. This is the adjustment. Sastre's got to get on the wheel here. Sastre is dropping to the back.
Well, the first acceleration came from Popovic, and then it was applied by Michael Bogert, who we saw going to the back of the group. Then all of a sudden realizing, and it looks as if that acceleration from Michael Bogert has put Denny Menchov into trouble, because Menchov has now popped off the back.
We are down to 10 principal players in the Tour de France on the climb up to the plateau. Menchov, who said he was coming back to form in the time trial, but he would dedicate all of his help to the yellow jersey Rasmussen. That's what he's done. He's paying for the price now. This is Kloden sitting at the back, not looking as cool as he's looked for the last couple of days of this race. Sastre's number 31. Number 11 is Levi Leipheimer. The white jersey is Contador. The pink jersey is Cadel Evans. And this man would worry me.
He would worry me a lot. He said, would you like a drink? My mate said, no. All right, well, let's carry on. This is unbelievable to see this rider doing this.
What's he doing?
He's phenomenal. He's
Anybody
great.
told him he rides for Barlow World, not
Phil,
for...
I tell you what, he's never been in a situation like this. He's never been in a big bike race like this, and he just wanted to share a bottle of water with the yellow jersey. He was trying to show friendship, trying to show camaraderie, but watch it, because when we get to the summit of the climb, he might give him a little dig.
Well, I'll tell you what, that would also work psychologically against Rasmussen. This guy's feeling good, he'll think, and doesn't want his water. Now is Valverde getting back here with Pereiro. There's Arroyo trying to get back in, but this is amazing. The Case de Pont team has seemed so strong in the first week, now in all sorts of trouble. Valverde, I think, lost his chance anyway yesterday, but I'm sure he came out today hoping to climb back into the Tour de France standings.
He certainly did. He was riding with courage for Spain, but you can see almost the top end of Case de Pont have been blown away here. Oscar Pereiro there, number 11, second overall last year, but David Arroyo, who went off the mountains on one of the Alpine stages, is trying to pace the two leaders back into this race and hope they don't lose too much time before the summit. We're kind of forgetting about the race in front, because the leaders of the race, Antonio Colom, is still 2 minutes ahead of the yellow jersey group.
Still 10 kilometers to climb, though. I think we don't need to put our cameras up there. They'll be coming back to see us here very soon. Maybe 4 kilometers or so from the finish. Michael Bogert in his last Tour de France now, unselfishly tapping out the rhythm for the yellow jersey of Rasmussen.
Well, Andrei Kashekin was in the group as well. We're looking down here at one of the riders. This is Antonio Colom. Great performance on this first day, and a little bit further back you can see here Carlos Pereiro. Well, he's just going to survive for a little while to have a chance to look at the yellow jersey group.
He's going to be washed straight away now, but he's in a fine position for a good ride on the day. Michael Bogert, Rasmussen having his lunch. He's had his drinks. Is Juan Mauricio Soler. Now he's having another drink. That guy's going to win the stage, Paul. That guy in the red spots is all over this race today. He's just sitting there enjoying climbing the mountains of France. The first time he's ever been in the Tour de France. Straight through, I'm afraid, Carlos Pereiro. Not surprisingly, he's got to climb this mountain now at his own speed. Well, this is a battle on the plateau now. The big stars are hitting each other with every blow. They've got Carlos Sastre, usually a man in the Pyrenees. He's won in the region before. He's getting into the hot seat at the back of that lead group. Valverde here is just hoping the finish comes soon now, because he's only going to be able to limit his losses. Pereiro on the far side, Arroyo in the middle. He was the guy that took a dive down the mountains the other day in the Alps. Well, let's see what Johan's saying right now. I think we can anyway. Let's get down to the car. Could be interesting.
Come on, come on, Popo. Very good.
Come on, Popo. Very good. Yes, it is very good. How these guys aren't machines, you know, Johan. But he certainly looks like he's one riding at the front now with a tempo that's putting Discovery in the driving seat. Just look at this ride now. But Contador, I think Discovery have come out today to get the team race, if nothing else, because they've got the men driving at the front. But Astana still have the leader on the road. How long can Popovic do this, Paul, before he does pop?
Well, it doesn't matter to him. He's thinking about the fact, Phil, that Team Discovery Channel or US Postal Service are undefeated on the slopes of this mountain. The race has been here twice before while they've been in existence, in 2002 and 2004. And on those occasions, it was Lance Armstrong who won the race. In 1998, it was Marco Pantani, and I'm sure Popovic is a man who knows his cycling history. Andreas Kloden looks to be suffering a little bit here, Phil, because of his accident yesterday.
I think he is. He's just hanging on here by his skin of his racing shorts, as Solar is also there at the back. This is a group now, Paul. 8 riders, pure class.
Well, Jaroslav Popovic gets out of the saddle. He will have heard that at the back Andreas Kloden is in difficulty, and he will put the hammer down a little more.
Well, I don't think that Kloden is going to hang on here too much longer, because he doesn't like the pace being dictated to, as Sastre also in trouble. Let's get back down to Johan.
Come on, Come on, Popo. Kloden is dropped, Allez.
Clearly, that's why I don't like the radios. I don't agree with that, but there we are. We're now seeing him, telling him that Kloden is in trouble, so he's going to go a little bit harder and try and break him at the back of the line. Just looking here, Johan Bunil on the radio just told Popovic that Kloden has been dropped. That's why I don't like the radios, Paul, as we're now seeing Kloden unhitch at the back and Popovic drive that little bit harder. Very shortly, Popovic will be dropped, but he'll have done his job. 10 kilometers to go. We say 9.5.
Well, we say 9.5. They've come through that 10-kilometer to go point, and they're coming again, Phil, to the steeper part of this climb. Is going to kick up again to around about 8.8%. Still, this is turning out to be a very select group of riders. There you can see on the front, Popovic, Contador, Rasmussen, Cadel Evans, Kashakin, all of the big names, and popped in there just on the side there is Levi Leipheimer, still looking very comfortable and still well up there.
Let's get on the radio and tell Popovic Kloden isn't dropped, he's on the back.
Well, you know, Kloden is a strong rider. Don't ever forget he's finished 2nd overall in the Tour de France, and he's a proud man too. He's probably hurting quite a bit because he crashed pretty dramatically in the time trial yesterday, but still managed to finish in 3rd place.
Well, I thought they dropped team time trialing from the Tour de France, but we've got one going on at the back there. And now this is the poise for the moment. Wait for the attack. His Contador is poised here. He's swung right. Rasmussen's looking around for reaction. Cadel Evans doesn't need to react yet. This is the first time, but it looks to me as though Rasmussen is being isolated now. Now it's showdown time at 9 kilometers to go, and Kloden is in the red zone once more.
And I tell you what, Alberto Contador is having a bit of a hard time trying to follow the pace being set by his own teammate, because he too is getting unhitched with Carlos Sastre.
You know, we always say it, but the Pyrenees are different to the Alps. Bodies always react differently. Levi Leipheimer says the Pyrenees is where I'm going to go. And he's in that little group now. They've got Kloden in difficulty, but he refuses to be finished off.
Well, he will not give up. He'll fight his way back into this race as much as he can. He started the day in 4th place in the overall classification, but what a performance that's being done there by the man at the front, Jaroslav Popovic. And I tell you what, Alberto Contador has come back into the group as well.
Well, Popovic is doing the ride of his life. The man who was dropped on the previous mountain came back and he's now doing the job of a super domestique and still hanging on there. He's just hanging in, is Andreas Klöden. Even the greatest athletes suffer like they've never suffered before when they ride in the Tour de France.
It's important today to stay in contact. If he eases now, he'll lose himself a couple of minutes before the summit of this climb. Contador looked in difficulty, so too did Carlos Sastre, but again the gradient changed and smiled on those two riders at the back from Spain, and they were able to pull themselves back into this group. Nobody, though, so far, Phil, has shown any sign of worry to the man in the yellow jersey, Michael Rasmussen, who just sits there and says, OK, guys, you just get on with it.
It's up to Rasmussen to attack. This is a mounted day ticked off and no time gains. He's got to go, otherwise Cadell is going to eat him alive on Saturday. Let me just tell you, up ahead, we haven't forgotten about the riders. Column is still on his own. He leads by nearly a minute over Chiruca and a minute 15 over Gutierrez. And then we come back to this group we're looking at now, at 1:38.
Well, everybody now is concentrating. Rasmussen is wondering, is anybody going to try and attack me here, or are they just going to try and wear me down? He just sits there looking over his shoulder. He's listening to see if he can hear the whistle of the tires as somebody tries to attack. Kashakin is over there on the left-hand side, and he started the day in 6th place in the overall classification.
Just looking down the list here as we move towards the top, we've got just on 8 kilometers to go and about 5 miles to go to the finish. This isn't Klöden, this is the leader now on the front, and he's still trying to ride away with it. You see Astana are still taking something from this Tour de France without their team captain.
Well, we saw when they came into the start of this Tour, Phil, that they were a strong team. We saw them in the Dauphiné Libéré 2 weeks before the start of this race, and we knew that they were going to be a team to be reckoned with. This is Chiruca. He's the chaser on the road, and he is struggling to stay in contact with the lone leader. And I have him down at around about 1 minute and 15 seconds. Jose Ivan Gutierrez is a little bit further back, but there is the yellow jersey group right on his tail.
Yes, Gutierrez is the next to go. That leaves 2 men up front here as the motorbikes take their turn to get through. There's Klöden still trying to hold them in sight, just fighting now to limit his losses here as the pressure goes on again. I would say that the boys in that little cluster, from that cluster comes the winner of the Tour de France on Sunday week.
I don't think anybody's going to criticize you with a remark like that, because certainly they are proving to be the strongest men in the Tour here this afternoon. Denny Menchov has been a strong man, but he was a strong man for Michael Rasmussen. Rasmussen has not showed any signs at all of weakness, but Team Case d'Epargne here this afternoon with Alejandro Valverde and Oscar Pereiro have been blown out of the bike race. They are losing currently 1 minute on the yellow jersey group.
Well, if looks can speak, that's told us everything here. This man is in trouble, Valverde. Rasmussen is not in trouble. He's cool, he's riding like a great climber, but what is happening, and there was a little switch there with Carlos Sastre. What I'm trying to say, Popovic has gone. Well, what a ride he's done. He'll be slapped on the back, and now it's a move by Levi to stretch him, and look who's going. Maurizio Sola straight on the wheel, the man I believe will win the stage today, and he's marked by the yellow jersey.
Well, he accelerated immediately. Great job of work by 118 Jaroslav Popovic, but the sad thing is you work hard like that. Contador's gone.
It's the old Discovery 1-2. Levi goes, Contador takes up the gritting of the face by Carlos Sastre, who looked to be in trouble, but he's gone. Rasmussen's answered, Cadell Evans has answered. 4 men going clear.
And Juan Maurizio Soler was grappling himself back up to the tail of these riders. Klöden now has no way at all of responding to these accelerations. Kashakin has gone too.
This, Paul, is a race of great cyclists who are throwing everything at one another here. And now they've caught, is that Chiruca they've just gone by?
They've just gone by Gutierrez very rapidly. They've
now
just caught Chiruca. He's out of the back. There's only 1 man in front of this group. Contador looking nervous, wants to get a lone lead if he can. He'll keep
Rasmussen.
Yep.
No, he's gone. Contador's react here. Now they've got to come. The yellow jersey is looking for time. Cadell Evans rocks and rolls. He's straight across the gap. They're splitting the 6 now. Evans joins on. Contador looking for the inside of the corner. Rasmussen knows he's got to get time.
He has to get time on everybody, and now we're looking a little bit further back. Jose Ivan Gutierrez was in the breakaway a little while ago. Now he's gone straight out of the back. This is Andrei Kushekin. He was looking comfortable a few moments ago, but now his foundations have been cracked.
When did we last see a stage of the Tour in the mountains like this? As now the rider, there's poor old Chiruka, doesn't know what the heck came past him. And it's the rider in the yellow jersey now, and Contador has mastered him. Cadel Evans is hurting, but he's hanging.
Well, he's pulling back every time the acceleration comes from Michael Rasmussen, but Rasmussen cannot get rid of the man in the white jersey, Alberto Contador. Contador is a great climber, a man who knows just how to accelerate. But a man with experience is the man who wears number 31. Carlos Sastre has seen this before. He's been here on many, many occasions, and he just lets them carry on with it and pulls himself back into the race with Levi Leipheimer and Soler.
Well, wait for the next attack from Rasmussen. This is how climbers work it here. They've eased because it didn't work, then they'll raise the acceleration again. He's lifted the tempo once more, and the second time sometimes kills them off. Contador is there. Now Rasmussen looks again. This is like a sprint on the track. They're watching each other. Rasmussen just rests. Contador still in control. So too is Evans. Leipheimer's back in. And the Colombian here would like some water. I'm not sure he's allowed anymore now.
Not allowed to take drinks on board at this stage of the game. We're looking at 6.8 kilometers to go. This man, number 219, Juan Mauricio Soler, Phil, is in all kinds of agony. He probably can't believe that he's battling it out at the stage of a Tour de France like this with the big men who are right up in the overall classification.
Well, he's going to be a high finisher in Paris if he keeps this riding up. He's 22nd at the moment. There's the list of the 6 riders. Add on the name of Soler down there as well, and there it is. Well, a tremendous ride. The USA flag for Levi Leipheimer almost blocking out a view of the summit of the plateau.
Well, this is Kloden and Andrei Kushekin, and Levi Leipheimer could be making a pretty good operation here this afternoon because he started the day behind Kloden in the overall standings by around about 1 minute and 3 seconds. If he gets to the top, that much ahead of him. Now there's the move by your man Soler.
Soler has gone. They may not react yet after him because he is just a carrot and has no he can't get yellow tonight. They're still watching each other. He sits 20 seconds, nearly 11 minutes behind Rasmussen, and that's why he may win the day. But no, Rasmussen's after him, ripping away, followed by Contador, and Evans, the limpet, is on the back.
Well, Cadel Evans cannot give these guys any gap at all. Rasmussen wants the stage here this afternoon, Phil. He wants to win in the mountains. Soler is pouring water all over himself, trying to calm and cool down those muscles of his, while Leipheimer has to respond. He really is gangly on a bike.
Well, he's terrible style. This reminds me of Robert Alban of years gone by. You know well as your teammate, Paul. He's slowed down now. They're all marking each other again. They'll let Levi back into the action. And now they'll wait and attack again. Sastre got back.
Well, this is amazing. This really is a battle of climbers. The acceleration, deceleration, I've rarely seen this kind of a battle before. But there you can see they're all waiting now for the next man to move.
It is absolutely incredible. 5, 6 of the greatest climbers. Nobody can break anybody. They're all launching attacks. When they realize they've been countered, they all slow down. If Kloden can keep and here he goes again. Now this time he may have it. Where is he finding the strength from?
Well, you know what? They do not really need to chase that man Soler because he's so far down in the overall classification. But it's Contador who wants the victory this afternoon. He says, no, mate, I want the win. And Leipheimer does not have the ability now to lift it up. And Alberto Contador has seen that he's not got the gap. And he says, come on, you guys want to win the stage, you go. So Rasmussen says, all right, I will.
And Sastre looks to be hanging at the back now as they continue to go. But Rasmussen comes up on Juan Mauricio Soler. The others behind are still hanging, but now Rasmussen this time tries to put it on. They've got Soler on the defensive. He needs half a kilometre to recover. He'll just have to hang there and wait and hope that they slow down again.
Well, you know what? When Barlow World were given a wild card selection into the Tour de France, I don't think the organisation...
They've slowed down again. He's coming back.
I don't think the organisation knew, Phil, that they were going to get such a battle from that team. Robbie Hunter has taken a stage victory. Soler has taken a stage victory, but he's an integral part of the Battle of the Pyrenees this afternoon.
Well, there they are, 5, and very shortly it will be 6 because Leipheimer is climbing back into the picture. He sits 5th overall. If they keep on doing that, there goes Contador. The yellow jersey this time says to Cadel Evans, well, you chase him. He's only just behind you overall. Now there's a state of confusion.
Well, Contador, look at this. He's out of the saddle. He knows now that he's got the gap. This is what he wanted a couple of days ago when we were in the Alps. He wanted to fly free and get himself a lone lead on the way up to the climb of Tignes. And now it's up to Rasmussen. He says, I know you're dangerous, Contador. I'm coming after you. And Evans again struggling to stay on the wheel. And Leipheimer, Phil, almost got himself back into contention with those riders, but then he goes again.
Well, it's a big gamble by Evans. He's a minute 31 ahead of Contador in the standings. He can afford to let him run a little bit, and it's not the case for Rasmussen, so he's had to react. And so the first 3 riders on the classification in the Tour de France are now the first 3 riders, and Evans, I think, has cracked.
Well, he's cracked a bit. He doesn't want to push himself too much into the red zone. He could not take the accelerations of these 2 climbers. Alberto Contador and Michael Rasmussen have thrown caution to the wind, and they are going at this as if it's the last battle of the Tour de France here this afternoon. So Evans now bows his head a fraction. What he's got to do, Phil, is try and recover somehow.
And
try and get himself into a situation where he can actually ride himself into his rhythm and not lose any more time.
Now, advantage Rasmussen. He's got to keep on working. He fears Cadel Evans. Cadel Evans can beat him in the time trial. He needs second. I think he needs about 3 or 4 minutes before we leave the Pyrenees over Cadel. So he's going to have to go again very shortly. But that acceleration's hurt just about everyone.
It's hurt absolutely everyone. We've kind of forgot the tête de la course, the front end of the bike race. Antonio Colom
He's still there.
Now, Phil,
not
looking at a massive gap. He's got 30 seconds over these 2 riders, Michael Rasmussen and Alberto Contador. This is a magnificent battle of the climbers. We talked about the Tour de France on the flat stage, and we've got so many sprinters in it. I don't think we've ever seen so many climbers over the last few years.
We had nothing like this in the Alps. We got it in the Pyrenees. They've been waiting for what is a most difficult stretch of riding now. We get a rest day in between 3 awful days in the mountains. 2 still to come. Just around that corner now has gone the race leader. These 2 are chasing him.
Well, what you say there, Phil, is completely true. They're fighting this out as if it's the last mountain stage at 5 kilometers to go. Do these men not know there's a monster stage tomorrow?
They've had no choice. They're scared of what Evans can do in the time trial. 5 kilometers to go. 5 kilometers still to go for the leader. And they've thrown just about everything they've got at each other.
This is unbelievable. Antonio Colom had around about 3 minutes advantage at the start of the climb. Valverde's losing huge chunks this afternoon. So too is Andreas Kloden, but the yellow jersey group with Alberto Contador, the best young rider in this race, is only 30 seconds. Well, in fact, it's less than that. It's 23 seconds at 3 miles to go.
Well, will they catch him? Because these 2 have had to slow just a little bit. They've started shadow boxing again. Rasmussen is waiting till he senses the younger rider in white is hitting the pace, and he'll hit him again. Here comes the chase group. Evans is on the front of it, and they are 44 seconds off the leader.
Well, Cadel Evans is now finding his own rhythm. He's hurting himself. He's got to ride a time trial. He rode a very hard time trial yesterday and got himself 2nd place. He knows he won't get any help from the other guys. He has got to ride for his position in the overall classification. He started the day in 2nd, and Carlos Sastra's seen the weakness.
Well, those 4 need time to recover, while these 2 are trying to get up to the leader now. And they've all attacked, in fact, Cadel Evans, and he's going to have to fight to stay in touch. Evans now, for the first time in this year's Tour, is in trouble. And Kloden still has a little help with Kashikin down the back, but they are much further down the road now.
Well, everybody is pretty much on the defensive. Cadel Evans was attacked. He was doing all of the pace-making to try and pull himself back into this race. His team manager now must try and calm him down. Don't panic, my son. Get yourself into a rhythm. Just ride yourself over these last 4.5 kilometers, because if he tries to follow these accelerations now, Phil, he could see that gap of seconds turning into minutes.
Yes, limit your losses. There's plenty of more mountains still to come. and he's not going to lose huge time, providing he doesn't completely hit the wall. Look at this, Rasmussen even encouraging Contador here, because Contador is looking for second place in the Tour right now, and Rasmussen is keeping all of his gains over Contador, which at the moment is 2 minutes and 31 seconds.
Well, Mr. Gangly at the back here, Juan Mauricio Soler is all over the back of Levi Leipheimer. Leipheimer looks very comfortable. He doesn't look under any stress at all, but he just cannot respond to the accelerations of the climbers. Carlos Sastre started the day in 7th place overall. He too could see himself climb up in the overall classification. How many times have we seen that face over the years?
Well, the perspiration running off these riders' faces are like waterfalls today. Coming up to the 5 kilometers banner, that's for the Valverde group. They're a long way back. We're heading up to 4 kilometers, and the count on 4 kilometers now. This is Column coming through. He'll see the 4 kilometers and still surviving, but how much longer? Because they're right on his back wheel here.
Well, there they are, just around the corner. He won't have very much more than a 10-second advantage at 4 kilometers to go. And when he sees the yellow jersey and the white jersey, Phil, he will be a broken man. But for these two riders, they're riding away from the rest of the field in the Tour de France this afternoon. And I think the man we're looking at here, 1-1-2, he might not win the Tour de France this year, but next year or the year after, he's going to be right on the top step of the podium.
Well, if he rides like this, he might win it this year yet. He's not a rival right now. He's just sort of encouraging each other here. It's two men against the rest, and then they'll decide later whether they have to fight it out between themselves. We're going back down the road here to the Evans group now, and Leipheimer won't help because he's got a teammate in Contador ahead.
Carlos Sastre, he's known glory in the Pyrenees before. Looking over his shoulder, he flicks his wrist there to say, come and work with me, but he's not going to get any help at all from Levi Leipheimer.
Oh. Pretty fit athlete there as we go down, back up to the front here, as we see the yellow jersey and the white jersey, the best rookie and the leader of the Tour, just getting into their sights now. The hero of the day, Antonio Colom, isn't going to see the plateau on his own. The two principal players are right up on him.
I think it's absolutely phenomenal the way Alberto Contador rides. He's the man who showed the most aggression here, but the yellow jersey, he knows that if he wants to win this Tour, Phil, every time and every stage that goes uphill, he's got to build on his advantage, because he will not win the final time trial. He will lose huge chunks of time. Contador now comes up and sets the pace-making, but I wonder how much longer number 192, Antonio Colom, can stay in contact with these two men.
Well, yes, and let's hope he can, but it's unlikely. But if he can hold them just for a while, he might get third on the stage as we head up into the last 3 kilometers now. That's about 2 miles still to ride, and Contador has been absolutely brilliant today. The crowd have had his name all over the road here, so they're expecting this. He had it planned.
Well, he knew that this was a climb that would suit him. He knew that he had the acceleration on the steeper slopes there. There's a bit of a gap going down to the next group on the road, and there it is. That's Carlos Sastre, Levi Leipheimer, and Juan Mauricio Soler. They are looking at around about 25 seconds. Cadel Evans at 45.
Cadel is going to have to make that up. He's not writing himself out of the Tour de France today, but this first day in the Pyrenees has been mano a mano, and Cadel tried and tried, and they cracked him. At 3 kilometers to go now, we've got 2 leaders, and they haven't attacked each other since they got clear.
Well, they're coming to the slightly easier slope, if you can have an easy slope after 15 kilometers of climbing. Here, the gradient slips into just 7%. The final kilometer is at 6.3%, so we're going to be treated to a big battle between what I feel this year, Phil, are the 2 top climbers of the Tour de France.
There are small time bonuses, as there are every day, for the first 3, 20 seconds for the winner, and that's for that reason they can't share the win. They've got to fight for it. 20 seconds for first, 12 seconds for second, and I think it's 8 seconds for third.
That's an important thing to remember for these 2 riders, but Michael Rasmussen now, he's not got to think about winning the stage anymore, Phil, because he has to think about time. Every time this race goes uphill, he's got to think about the time he puts between himself and Cadel Evans and Andreas Kloden, because those men are great individual time trialists. No worry at all, says Alberto Contador. I've still got plenty of fire in these legs of mine. The Spanish supporters are all behind me. Cadel Evans at 3 kilometers to go has lost himself almost a minute, and he could be losing his second place overall.
Well, he's got to lose 1:31 is what he's got to lose, but there is that small bonus. He's very close to slipping a place here. Temporary hiccup, I think, but we'll see. The Danish flags are flying, and the Danish man is the one in yellow.
Well, it's getting a bit precarious here. The fans are getting a little bit too close. But for Alberto Contador, he's thinking about victory on the stage and climbing up into second place in the overall classification. At around about 1.5 kilometers to go, they will start to feel safe. They'll get into the barriered part of the course. But Contador, Phil, looks just so easy. He's out of the saddle. He's dancing on the pedals, as you would say, with an incredible amount of ease. Further back, Cadel Evans is struggling. He's using a much bigger gear. He's trying to find a rhythm, which is just not comfortable enough for him to find.
Well, Cadel wants the finish now, and he wants it as fast as it will come to him. He needs a recuperation. He's done for the day. These boys have slowed a little bit, but Rasmussen said something to Contador, and I think he says, you do the work, and Contador says, no, why me? You do the work. They shouldn't be arguing like this. And Rasmussen really must make Contador work too. Otherwise, there they are. There's that discussion. And goodness knows what language is in, because Contador only speaks Spanish.
Well, he speaks a little bit of English, a bit of confusion now as they go through it. Just listen to the crowds. It's almost deafening, the tunnel of noise that these riders are going through. And I think that Alberto Contador, Phil, actually feels that Cadel Evans is now being picked up here by Andreas Kloden. So Cadel Evans is actually showing his first sign of weakness on the 14th stage of the Tour de France. We've never seen him show any sign of weakness at all since we left London.
Well, there's 2 more days of mountains, and I have to tell you, they are harder than this day. But this day has been a big sort out on the climb of the Plateau-de-Beille. An acceleration by Rasmussen, and Contador's on him at 2 kilometers.
That's what it was all about, that discussion. Alberto Contador is not happy with Michael Rasmussen. He's saying to him, if you want to win the stage, mate, you go to the front. You've got to get the time. I'm going to sit here because I want to win the stage for Discovery Channel, and I want to win the stage for Spain.
Well, those motorbikes, thankfully, have now been pushed away here. We should get a true sprint, but Rasmussen, he wants Contador to come through. I'm not sure Contador will here.
He keeps flicking his shoulder there, his arm. He says, come on, keep working with me. But I think they've lost the fraternity that they had when they set up this move going clear. I'm not sure that Alberto Contador is very happy at all with Michael Rasmussen, and he's going to sit there because he knows in the back of his mind he starts the day 2.5 minutes behind Michael Rasmussen. He knows Michael Rasmussen needs time, so he's going to force the Dane to do all of the pacemaking.
Well, watch out, because these 3 might claw the way. There he goes up on the inside. There'll be no acceleration. The other 2 are fully committed, and this man could take advantage of the slowing of the 2 riders at the front. It'll have to be pretty special, I think, even for him. But he's off again, because at the moment he's losing his lead he gained earlier in the King of the Mountains. It's going back to Rasmussen.
This is a man who's come to the Tour de France for the first time ever. He's never seen these mountains before, Phil, but he's absolutely not afraid of them in one little bit. Cadel Evans is 1 minute and 20 seconds down at 1 kilometer to go to the finish, so he looks as if he's going to lose his second place in the overall classification to the man lying in second place there. But this man, as you said earlier, Phil, might spoil the party for the stage victory.
If he can get up there, he might confuse them. Here's Cadel, a bit lower down the slopes. He's cracked at 1.2 kilometers here. He probably, with the bonuses, at least will lose, for the moment at least, second place overall. He's now with Andreas Kloden and Kashikin. And what on earth has happened to Vinokurov now? Washed away, I would think, because this has been a dual battle with everybody else out of it. There is 1 kilometer to go. Contador refuses to help the Maillot Jaune. The Maillot Jaune has got to work because he wants time.
Well, for the Maillot Jaune, Michael Rasmussen, he must ride as hard as he can to get time over everybody else in this race, because he will not ride a final time trial like the time trial he rode yesterday. Alberto Contador knows this. He's riding like a tough poker player, saying, mate, you want to win the Tour de France? Well, I want to win this stage, so you go and get as much time as you can. We are looking, Phil, at only about 20 seconds to this man who is currently in 3rd place on the road. Juan Maurizio Soler. Yes, he does remind me of Robert Alban, a man who was my teammate in the La Redoute days in the 1980s. He cannot look good on a bike, but I tell you what, when it goes to going uphill, he knows how to do that.
Well, can he catch those 2? If they slow down to gets ready for the finish, he'll be on them and he'll steal the stage. But at the moment, Rasmussen is committed. He's no choice. He's racing for time gains, particularly on Cadel Evans. So he, in effect, is having to give the stage away here to Alberto Contador. But this first day in the Pyrenees has shown us Rasmussen is a pretty solid leader of the Tour de France.
He's also learning the hard way, Phil, that when you've got the yellow jersey on your shoulders, when it comes down to decision time, you don't have any friends at all. You've got to assume control yourself. You've got to prove that you are a great champion, and that's why he has to do all of the work. 500 meters to go, and Alberto Contador is getting ready for the explosion that he hopes is going to give him the victory of the stage.
Well, Alberto Contador, the man that had the serious accident which almost cost him his life, is now looking set to get the victory. We are further down the climb here as we watch here as Carlos Sastre on his own now. So what has happened to Levi Leipheimer? As now the sprint is started here. And now it's started here now by the rider in the lead, and this is going to be a big sprint here for Rasmussen. And look at the face of Contador. Is he going to get beaten here? I don't think so, as he comes on the left here and starts to drive for home. Alberto Contador in his first Tour de France, the best rookie, gets the stage win. Not the best way to win, but he gets it and takes it from the yellow jersey, Rasmussen. Well, there we are. I'm not surprised. Discovery Channel have played their cards well today, and Contador is the champion. And now we're looking at Juan Solar coming home for third place here. And he might just about hang on to his newfound lead in the King of the Mountains, but it'll have to be a big one because it's Leipheimer who tried to catch him on the line. We didn't see Leipheimer move, but he did as Juan Solar comes up here to take third place. Second place has gone to Michael Rasmussen. So this has been a showdown like we haven't seen for many a day in the Tour de France, and it's only day one in the Pyrenees. Sastre coming up here, up into fifth place. Fifth place for Carlos Sastre as he hits the line. First place for Contador. Fourth place for Leipheimer. Discovery Channel probably are now the leaders. It depends where the third counter is. Now these two are the losers today. Cadel Evans coming up with Andreas Kloden, and we'll look for the clock to see what it says on the clock. A minute 17 has gone. It's pretty good. He probably will lose his second place overall because there was a 20-second win bonus for Alberto Contador. And there he is, already on the phone to his folks. I just won a stage of the Tour de France. I'm now second overall in the race. Well,
Andreas Kloden today was also put into difficulty, and I think, Phil, because of that crash he had in the individual time trial yesterday, Cadel Evans too rode a brilliant individual time trial. That will have hurt his body as he makes his way up to the finish line. I don't think he'll try and come round Kloden here. He's happy to get to the top there. The clock stops for him at 1 minute and 52 seconds.
Yes, and add on that the 20-second bonus. This is looks like Kashikin coming up the climb here. It's been a pain. That's Colomba, in fact. Well, it's been a tough old day for everybody. Astana may have kept their team lead because we've got 3 riders home now.
This is Antonio Colom waiting to pace Andrei Kashikin across the line.
Yep, and as they come up to the line, that'll give them their 3 men home. So they may well keep their team race lead. They may even increase it because there's no third man in yet for Discovery Channel.
Well, the third man on the road is going to be Jaroslav Popovic, and the work that he did, I'm sure, Phil, by the time he gets to the finish line here, he will have lost whole chunks of time. Sorry, there he is.
Well done, Jaroslav Popovic. He's kept the team race alive as well as he comes up looking very strong. And pulling up here, Michael Bogart, who in his final Tour de France is having a great Tour de France, and also with them Mikael Astelotha, who started the day in 8th place overall.
Well, I have a feeling he might keep his 8th place overall with a ride like this. Look at the face on that man. Michael Bogart is doing a phenomenal Tour de France. It's his last year at the Tour. He's going to retire at the end of this season, and this is his great ever ride in the Tour, Phil.
Well, Paul, we haven't seen a day like this. On the way up now, 3 minutes 15 conceded for Alejandro Valverde and Oscar Pereiro at the moment. It'll be over 3.5 minutes. He's still fighting the seconds here. They still sprint it out. Every second could still count in this year's Tour de France. It's the only day one in the Pyrenees. 2 more tough days to come and that final time trial. I don't think we will know till that Saturday next week.
We've still got a lot of mountain climbing to go before we get to the finish, and we've still got an awful long way to get up to Paris. And of course, that individual time trial may well give us the final result. Valverde in, he's lost himself at 3 minutes and 45 seconds. That is the finish line at the Plateau-de-Beille.
Oof, and what a finishing line as well. We've seen a superb race today. I'm glad I'm not a professional cyclist right now, because those boys put on some show today. They showed no quarter at all, and young Alberto Contador was absolutely brilliant. Rasmussen had no choice to do what he did. He had to set the pace. He knew he was getting rid of the stage because of it. That's the price he paid. But when he looks back at the overall, it's been a great day for Rasmussen. We'll take a break, then we'll work it all out. See you in a moment.
Saab was founded by 16 aircraft engineers. Their spirit lives on in the turbocharged 2007 Saab 9.3 Sport Combi. With all the storage space you need, an estimated 30 miles per gallon, and a starting price under $29,000, you're closer to owning a jet than you think. Saab, born from jets. Log on to Versus.com/fly to the finish for your chance to win a 2007 Saab 9.3 Sport Combi and a new Cervelo bike.
Who wants to be stranded with a flat tire?
Changing tires out here could be dangerous, but with these tires, I don't need to worry. Well, I guess I'll be on my way.
Bridgestone, run flat tires.
Bridgestone.
Visa Payway. Now there are more places and more ways to pay. Faster. Life takes Visa.
This summer, Versus is bringing the stars, the stripes, the painkillers. It's gonna be a red, white, black, and blue summer.
It's just something that you're either willing to accept or you're not.
The toughest athletes are gonna dish it out and take it on the chin. The competition is on, and the cost of victory is paid. The Versus red, white, black, and blue summer. The suffering continues.
Pain's a good thing sometimes.
All summer long.
MMA can be extremely artful, it can be scientific, it can be a chess match, or it can be a brutal, quick knockout that nobody ever expected it. And that's what's great about the sport, it's just you never know what's gonna happen.
I don't believe in like the fairy tale endings when somebody harnesses their inner spirit to overcome something that they haven't, that they haven't prepared for.
I get more hurt in training than I do in a fight. Because when I train hard, and that's where I get hurt most of the time.
I train for pain, I train hard. I'm up in the morning early to get to the gym. I'm the first one in, usually the last one out. I train like this is a warfare. Like I don't plan on coming back.
I refuse to lose, When I step in there, you gotta kill me.
I just keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. I'm trying to finish you.
I might go out there and I'm trying to hit you with everything I have. And
and just keep going.
You inflicted damage on me, I'm gonna give it back to you tenfold. I'm gonna make you wish you never even hit me.
It's not fun and games in there. It's intense, and fear is not an option.
It's just an attitude of just go, go, go until you can't go anymore.
It's just getting in my head and flipping that switch. And once I flip that switch, it's showtime.
Welcome back to Plateau-de-Beille. All the campers up here have witnessed an incredible climb on the big screen on the plateau. It has been a battle royale amongst the riders who want to win the Tour de France. And the winner, of course, today, Alberto Contador. Points at his white jersey, points at Team Discovery Channel. He gets his first ever stage win in the Tour de France.
What a win by that man. He really rode that on guts. His name was written all over the road. No one was going to beat him today.
Let's have a look then at the Honda ATV stage results. Contador winning, same time as Rasmussen, 37 seconds up on Sola, 40 on Leipheimer, 53 on Carlos Sastre. They were the close ones, as the gap certainly opened. Cloden at 1:52, Evans same time, Colom at 2:23, Kashikin at 2:23, and Popovic, the brilliant ride he did in the end, only lost 3 minutes and 6 seconds. Further down, another good ride coming from Michael Bogart as he tried to ride for Rasmussen. Astolosa suffered but held on to 12th place for a finish. Then came trouble. Pereiro Valverde losing 3 minutes 45 along with Jaime Zubeldia. Bernard Cole pulled out something special for Gerolsteiner. David Arroyo, he dropped as well, 3:47. Hero of the day, Gutierrez, finished 18th, and Shiruka just behind him in 19th. Further down, Karpich finishes with our old friend Jens Voigt and Thomas Dekker. And in 25, Dmitry Fofanov. Now, as we talk, Alexander Vinokurov has not appeared at the finishing line yet. We'll keep you in touch with him, but his days are done today. Let's go down to Robbie Ventura now as he talks to Levi Leipheimer.
Levi, it seemed like your leg came great today. Could you describe that final climb? Awesome finish for the Discovery team.
Yeah, tell you what, Plateau-de-Beille is a real killer, and I felt good today, but I don't think there's any way you can go up that climb easy. I still suffered as much as ever, but it was a great day for me and obviously for the team. Alberto's phenomenal, and I mean, he's a real contender.
It seemed like when it was going steady, you were absolutely fine. It was those accelerations that were getting to you. You clawed your way back towards the end as well. Can you explain that a little bit?
That's just my style. I can't really accelerate well, and I try not to because I know that it's not my style. And you know, when they accelerate, I always try to buffer it a little bit, let them go, come back. But at the end there, Sastre was doing a nice, steady, hard tempo, and that's more my style.
Congratulations, Levi.
Alberto Contador has shown.
Yes, well done, Levi Leipheimer. He yo-yoed a bit, but he finished well. And Paul, he's now up to 4th place overall, and Contador's up to 2nd. Yeah, they've got what they've worked for about 10 days.
I have to say, well done, Team Discovery Channel, because Jaroslav Popovic, to me, was the man at the bottom of that climb. He did a phenomenal work setting it up for either Levi Leipheimer or Alberto Contador. But the way Contador accelerates on the slopes of those climbs, where we saw only one man could go with him, and that was Michael Rasmussen.
Well, if you saw our program earlier, of course, we heard Johan Brunel say Pop is coming back and he's bringing you all bottles. He gets back, he gives them the bottles, he goes to the front, and he completely killed himself to set up the race today, which worked out for them. They may well be in the team lead. We're waiting to see the figures for that. If not, Astana will still be the team leaders there. But even as we talk now, still hasn't arrived over the line, Alexander Vinokurov. Very sad, I think.
I think very sad, because it was great to see the courage that he performed to come back and ride that time trial yesterday and win it and dominate the time trial. But I'll tell you one thing, Phil, today the real winner of the stage was Alberto Contador.
And there he is on the podium. Cheers all round. This is the man who had this terrible head injury, and they really thought he wouldn't make it. He has a titanium plate in his head. They cut away half his head, and he's a really nice guy to talk to. And when he learns English fluently, we'll have a great conversation. But he is a super guy. He's a big favourite, I know, of Johan Brunel.
Well, Johan Brunel really tips this young man for stardom. He came across to Discovery Channel. He's improved his time trialing ability 100%, and that's why he's always going to be a threat right the way down to the finish line for Michael Rasmussen. And today, Rasmussen could not get rid of him at all.
All right, now take a look at this, because we can go to the Michelob Ultra overall standings. There they are. Michael Rasmussen, he's turning out to be a bit of a star here. He's opened the gaps. It was 1 minute. He's now 2:23 ahead of Contador. 3:04. Cadel Evans goes down, loses 2:04 today. Leipheimer up a place from 5th into 4th, 4:29 back. Andreas Kloden down to 5th at 4:38. Big shuffles these, Paul. Sastra hung in there. He's in 6th place. He did climb in the end a bit. Kashikin in 7th. Astolosa went up. Despite his suffering today, he's up to 8th. Valverde continues to drop away, nearly 10 minutes now. And Popovic, after all that, sits in 10th place. The yellow jersey, a week in the maillot jaune now for Rasmussen. He said he would have to attack in the Pyrenees to get time. Today he did it.
He got time on everybody except one man, Alberto Contador, but he's not so worried about Alberto Contador. He was more concerned with the Australian Cadel Evans and his time trialing ability. But tomorrow, Phil, we're in for another monster stage, and I really don't know how these guys are going to come out and do it all again.
No, I don't either, because they hit each other so hard. There's got to be some common sense at some stage in the Tour de France, and tomorrow is a most difficult stage indeed. Congratulations all round for Michael Rasmussen. There's the battle. Goodness knows what they were saying here, but I think Rasmussen was falling out for lack of work from Alberto Contador. Even tried to attack him. That didn't work. All right, we'll take another quick break. We'll work out everything for you. We'll have some interviews, and we'll be back in just a moment. Stay with us on the Tour de France Live.
The 2007 Tour de France on Versus is brought to you by Cervelo. Enjoy engineering. Ride a Cervelo.
At the wind tunnel, you usually see finished products and marketing types. At Cervelo, we take engineers and prototypes. Building a better bike is what Cervelo is all about.
The 3 Series is here. With elegant styling and a powerful yet fuel-efficient inline 6-cylinder engine. Stop in and take a test drive today.
Tour de France, Stage 14, enhanced tonight at 8 on Versus. The real drama continues.
Introducing the Cadillac Summer Event. Right now, at your Cadillac dealer, you can experience the best Cadillac has to offer and 0% APR financing across all models. The best part about summer? It's here.
Visit your Colorado Cadillac dealer for this attractive offer.
Can't make it to the ballpark. Catch every hit, every play, every minute on FSN HD. Sharp, clear pictures and CD quality sound. It's just like being there. This ball driven high in deep center field. You want Colorado Rockies baseball, and you want it in high definition. FSN HD is the only place to see the Colorado Rockies in HD.
Co-ed matches, coaches on the court, super tiebreakers, and superstars from around the world.
World Team Tennis on Versus. The new champ of Wimbledon, Venus Williams, leads the Freedoms to wrangle Houston. Next on Versus.
Welcome back as we just skim across the Pyrenees here. There are friends or enemies now for the next 3 or 4 days of the Tour de France. We have a rest day in the middle of the battle of these high mountains. What a battle we have seen today. In the end, 24-year-old Alberto Contador, the white jersey of the Tour, wins the stage. And the man who finishes second, the yellow jersey, is Rasmussen. Let's just check out how it all came to be on what has been a terrific day of racing. It really all happened on the final climb when they came into Les Cabanes and started the way up to the top of the Plateau-de-Beille.
Well, at that point, there was still the 5-man leading group, which had dominated most of the race. But once they got halfway up the climb, Antonio Colom decided he couldn't take these accelerations from the youngsters anymore and decided he was going to go alone. And he, at this point, had a 2.5-minute gap over the front end of the race, which was containing the yellow jersey.
Then George Hincapie rejoined after descending from the previous mountain and went straight to the front and drove hard, trying to set it up for Levi Leipheimer and Alberto Contador. Then when George went, Popovic made all of the pacemaking, and he did it to such good effect, he was dropping off all the stars.
A lot of men put under serious pressure because of the work being done today by Team Discovery Channel. They knew that they had something to play. They got rid first of Alejandro Valverde, then Oscar Pereiro, then Andreas Kloden. All the big names were disappearing one by one.
And then the decisive move came, because once they all thinned down to a handful, Levi Leipheimer attacked. Then Contador attacked. They picked up the remnants of the breakaway. Then he became mano a mano. The yellow jersey attacked. Contador followed. Cadel Evans came back. They all came back. And this is how it was. And then Juan Mauricio Solar. We thought he might be allowed to leave away because he could not get the yellow jersey. And then they cracked Cadel Evans.
Well, Cadel Evans was the big fear, I think, of Michael Rasmussen, because he's a great individual time trialist. But finally, only 2 men left at the front of the race. Michael Rasmussen, the wearer of the yellow jersey, and, of course, the man in the white jersey, Alberto Contador, separated by 2.5 minutes. But before the summit, at around about 2 kilometers to go, they caught the lone leader, Antonio Colom, but he couldn't do really very much to stay with them.
No, he raised, but it was the death throes. They soon were rid of him, and then it was a one-on-one battle for the line. But Contador refused to help Rasmussen in the last 1.5 kilometers, and then he made sure he came out of his slipstream and he got victory for Discovery Channel. Both riders finishing in the same time, and this was what they wanted. Levi Leipheimer also made a late run, and he almost got up with another man that made a late run, Juan Solar. So Solar got third, but Leipheimer, crossing the line in 4th place, would also claim, as we're about to see, 4th place in the overall. Here we are, Paul, the Michelob Ultra overall standings. Rasmussen, the gaps have opened.
Well, I think he'll be happy with the gaps this evening. He's got 2 minutes 23 seconds over Alberto Contador, but more importantly, 3:04 ahead of Cadel Evans. Leipheimer moving up, but he's a long way down at 4:29. He's still got a lot of work to do, and Andreas Kloden still hanging tough in 5th place, 4:38. Looking further down, though, Andrei Kashekin for Team Astana is in 7th. Mikel Astrolova protected his place. Jaroslav Popovic, phenomenal ride today, is up into 10th place, 10:55 behind.
Well, we've also, as you look a bit further down, top 15 carpets here. We can go back to the podium now and see the presentation. This might be interesting, actually. Let's have a look who's coming out. And in fact, he's already out, and it's Rasmussen, so he reversed it because the last climb was double points. He'd lost his lead in this competition to Juan Mauricio Solar on the previous climb. He got it back by finishing second on the stage.
Those 2 men are going to have a serious battle tomorrow for supremacy in the King of the Mountains classification. And if Michael Rasmussen thinks he can win the yellow, I think he might back off in this race for the King of the Mountains classification, because he needs to conserve as much energy as possible to win this bike race.
Just looking at some of the local wildlife there. I'm not sure. There might be chamois up here in the Pyrenees. Anyway, let's have a look at what is happening in the mountains competition. Only 2 points in it. That fight goes on tomorrow between Rasmussen and Solar as they pull clear now of Jaroslav Popovic. Contador is still there. They all will be because of the way they're climbing. Evans is in 5th place. But the battle there between Rasmussen and Mauricio Solar of Barlow World. Here we are. He gets his white jersey now as well. There's no doubt about who is the best rookie of the Tour now. I don't think in this competition, Paul, which is for those riders who are under 25, I honestly don't think he's got any rivals anymore.
No, just look at him in the white jersey there, Phil. It just reminds me, going back to the month of March of this year, when we saw him where he was supported by the team. He was trying to win himself Pyrenees, and on the final stage, he was in second place overall, and the team worked like crazy, put him into a position where he could go out on the attack on the Col d'Ez, and he crossed the line in first place and won the race. Then we started to realize that this man was going to have a great season, and it continues.
Well, he's won 6 races this year. No, sorry, he's won 7 races this year now. And tomorrow, who knows, because he might be in the thick of things again. It is a terribly hard day. The Col de Peyresourde. We're in all the mountains, the Plateau-de-Beille. These riders are second category, building up to first. And finally, they get up to all category once again. Col de Porte. Now, quickly out of that, because I think we're now hearing Craig Hummer is with Michael Rasmussen.
Michael, it looked as though Plateau-de-Beille lived up to its reputation today. How difficult was that final climb?
It's probably the most difficult climb and the difficult stage finish of the entire race. We've been here up there several times before, and the likes of Pantani and Armstrong that won here before, so it would have been nice to get one's name on that list. I didn't succeed in that, but I'm still happy with the outcome of today.
Speaking of the outcome of today, your team, Rabobank, very strong, but of course this is the first of 3 days in the Pyrenees. Can you expect the same from them tomorrow?
I don't know. I mean, they were riding really, really strong today, that's for sure, and I was trying to hold them back a little bit because, like you said, we still have more than 400 kilometers of riding through the Pyrenees, and the battle is far from over. So I didn't want them to go in too hard, but they were hard to hold back today.
But you put time into Evans, so congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
Well, 400 kilometers, he's saying, still to ride in the Pyrenees, and I'm not sure I can stand it. Never mind Rasmussen. We saw a great day today, and there we are, right in the far south of the map. And tomorrow we race. We go out to the flatlands to restart at Foix, not far away from here. Second class, 2 first class, and an all-category climb before we get to the finish. The Porte d'Aspet, the Col de Monte, where Louis Ocaña once crashed in 71. And then we have a little bit of respite before we climb the all-category Porte-de-Beille, and then onto the Col de Peyresourde above Luchon before the finish in Loudon-Viel. This is a horrific day tomorrow, Paul.
It certainly is. When you look at the profile like that and the distance, almost 200 kilometers, you know it's going to be tough.
Well, don't forget, we are live tomorrow. We're going on earlier. Be with us, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time for stage number 15. And, of course, tonight, Alan Bob are back with all of the excitement of our enhanced primetime coverage show tonight with Alan Bob, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That one is. Boy, I'm looking forward to the rest day, but that's 48 hours away. What will happen tomorrow? It has been a tremendous battle today, and I'm sure you will have enjoyed it. Well, don't forget, log on to our website at versus.com, and you'll find out all about the Tour de France and all the race coverage, etc. We thank Giordano for all of our wardrobe, and we're getting to wear all the shirts out now with all this excitement. It was another good day in the Tour de France. It seems every day this year is a good day. I wonder if that phone call that we saw Contador take at the finish came from a certain Lance Armstrong to say, well done. You never, never know. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the coverage. Our thanks to all of the Versus team and, of course, to the great pictures provided by the French television people. Until tomorrow, we're live with you, 7:30 tomorrow. Goodbye for now.